Out of Causeway Street tonight, the Celtics are down in San Antonio, but yours truly and Tommy Heinsohn right here in our Ace Ticket studio. And Tommy just wanted to get out of the studio. He said, listen, Celtics are on the road. We might as well go out and do our share as well. Tommy, Celtics are looking great on this road trip so far. They've won 2 straight, 5 in a row overall. What's been the key to the success?
Well, I think their focus has been a major part of what has produced these good games. And everybody seems to be on the same page. And they are now commanding respect for the teams they're playing.
All right, let's hear from some of the Celtics about this road trip.
We've had some mental lapses at home, but like I said before, hopefully we can make it up on this road trip. And we understand you have to have extra focus because you gotta play through the crowd noise. You gotta play teams that play their best at home, and we're just mentally focused right now.
We had gotten in the habit of getting off the slow starts and then battling back and winning some of them and losing some of them. And last 2 games on the road, we've gotten off to great starts, and it's just really important for our team on the road.
They're one of the best defensive teams, and I think since Garnett arrived over there, they've been very good defensively. And it's my job, to make sure I don't force anything and push the tempo and try to find some good shots from my teammates, and at the same time be aggressive.
Okay, Tommy, let's take a look at Metro PCS hindsight. Speed versus speed, parking up, and new additions. We know you like to run, my friend. Let's talk about the speedsters.
Well, each team has got a speedster and a very quick person. Rondo for the Celtics and Parker for the Spurs. But Rondo is I think, probably the quicker guy and physically stronger. But this guy here, Parker, has learned how to get to the rim pretty effectively and has got now the shots and the confidence to score, and he's looking for his shots. Rondo, conversely, is looking to pass more than shoot. So Rondo can be more effective for the Celtics at times than Parker can be for the Spurs.
Well, Ray Allen had the high numbers. He was the high scorer in the win over Charlotte. But we were all about Perk in that postgame show, and to coin a phrase, he's definitely perking up, Tommy.
Well, Perk has got the ability to play against anybody in the league right now down on the box. Even guys like Shaquille O'Neal, he can hold his own. But it's going to be interesting tonight because he's going to line up against one of the premier players. And there he is, Duncan, and there's what he was capable of doing last year against Duncan. And not many people can play Duncan that effectively. And I'll tell you, I think that Perk can also score against Duncan. So it ought to be an interesting matchup to keep your eye on.
All right, Richard Jefferson and Tony McDyess, new members of the Spurs team. They won 5 in a row. Tell us about these new additions.
Well, the new additions, Jefferson is a terrific scorer, although he's not up to par when he played with the Nets, where he was scoring a whole bunch of points. His numbers are down a little bit, but he will catch on, and he's got the total game. He's got the pull-ups in between. He's got range to his three-point shot. Big time he can go out there, and he's a strong finisher. So right there, you're going to see McDyess, who's a jump shot guy from 15, 18 feet, and also will rebound if you don't account for him.
Let's talk about McDyess, Tommy. Does he make this team better because he's a guy that's long in the tooth?
Well, he comes in, and if you forget about him, he can score. He's a terrific 15-foot jump shooter, and he can be physical, and he's a very experienced player. So he will take advantage to whatever you give him, unlike some of the other players they have on their staff. The big guys are green as grass. So this guy can be a very effective player for a veteran team.
Okay, do you think that the Spurs right now are a title contender, or has it passed them by?
Age is a factor. They have Duncan, who is their key guy. Ginobili, who I think is probably as important as anybody on that team, has really got injury problems that he's not been able to shake. And without him, that team is not the same. So you have to see what happens injury-wise, much like the Celtics. If they lose key players like they did last year, it's an uphill battle.
All right, let's get down to the AT&T Center in San Antonio. Mike and Donnie have the latest on this game. Guys?
Those 3 straight home games at home on Friday night. it seemed like everybody started to panic, and nobody noticed that they were 7-1 on the road and had the best road record in the league. Does that surprise you at all?
Well, it surprises me that people were worried, because if you look at the record, I know Doc talked about, hey, we're not doing some things that well, but when you look at the record, it was still among one of the best in the NBA. You know, it shows you the monster that the Celtics and Doc Rivers have created. You know, the expectations are very high, but, you know, this is a veteran team, Mike, and we talked about this a little bit last game. You need veterans to not just win championships, but to win the games that are close, to win the ugly games, to win different ways, but also to win on the road, and that's exactly what they're doing.
And you said to me the other night, it's easier to fix things at home than to fix problems on the road.
Absolutely. You know, when you're at home, you understand you have your fans. You can tell guys, listen, stay in bed today, stay in your own beds today. We won't have shoot around. You know, so it's better to have to be able to fix things at home, because they're easier to fix at home than they would be. It's like driving a car across country. You know, it's hard to fix when you're out in the desert, but when you're in your own garage, it's easy to tinker with and go out and get the products you need to fix it.
Let's talk a little bit about the cornerstone of this franchise. That, of course, is Tim Duncan. And I guess my question to you would be, has that window, you heard Gary talking about it earlier, has that window closed, or does he still have enough left in the tank to lead this team to another title or two?
It's hard to imagine, Mike, that a guy shooting 54%, averaging 18.5 points a game and almost 11 rebounds a game, it's hard to imagine that he can't play anymore or take a team that has 7 new guys and a very deep bench to that next level or to that championship level again. Popovich understands that he's won 4 world championships already. He knows how to put Tim Duncan in the right situation. The guy's only playing about 31 minutes a game. He's doing the right things for Tim Duncan right now, and Tim Duncan is doing the right things for his team.
And one of the reasons that he only plays 31 minutes per game is because this is arguably the best bench in the game. They're deep and they're good.
No question, Mike. They're averaging 41 points a game. 41 points a game off of your bench. You're talking about a lot of new guys, 7 new guys. You know, really, to me, the surprise of this bench is not the Matt Bonners, who obviously we know is a great shooter, Manu Ginobili, those guys, but Dwan Blair, a steal that Greg Popovich says he couldn't believe was still around when it came to their pick. So Popovich is continuing to not just reinvent this team, but reinvent himself as a coach, much like Doc Rivers. Hey, I don't just need old guys to win. I can put in some younger guys and some guys like Richard Jefferson and mix them in and still continue to win. So the depth of the bench is very huge. We talk about that with the Celtics, you know, this being one of the deepest benches that they've had since KG's been here. And now you look across here, San Antonio Spurs, they're set up to get deep into the playoffs, if not win another championship.
All right, San Antonio, one of the many stops, it seems, around the league that Doc Rivers either played at, coached at, or was a television broadcaster at. He did 2 of them right here in San Antonio, and he talked with Greg earlier today.
Obviously, Miami and Charlotte had its own challenges. Is this maybe the biggest challenge you faced in this trip?
Well, it's the next one. You know, I think this trip is a trip of challenges. I think every team, Miami, you know, he was playing well when we went in there, and the city is pretty lively. Charlotte was one of the hottest teams in the NBA when we went in there, and the Spurs are a great team before, and they're playing well. They've won 5 in a row, so it's the biggest in that way. Yeah, it's the most talented.
Has anything stuck out to you, impressed you the most about your team, not only in these 2 games on this trip, but the 5-game winning streak overall?
Well, I like the fact that we've been able to spur the game. You know, not necessarily play great for 48 minutes, but we've been able to have a spurt that separates us enough to win the game. The Charlotte game, if we play like that every night, at least in the first 3 quarters, then you love your team. I mean, the ball movement, it was a passing clinic. I thought Havlicek and Kuzi and those guys were out on the floor. I mean, but that's how we want to play. And if we can play like that offensively, it makes us a better defensive team.
Have you had enough of those 48-minute games to satisfy you?
No, but we're going to get them. I mean, you can see them. They're coming. They're getting closer, but we just haven't been the team yet to put it together for 48 minutes.
What did McDyess and Richard Jefferson add to the San Antonio team?
Oh, more talent. They're a better team. I mean, and Blair. They've had the best summer, I think, of anybody.
Did you think Dwan Blair could be this kind of player this early in his career? Does it help that he's with Popovich and this team that he's on?
I think it always helps a young player when they're with a great coach and a great team. Having said that, I had the luxury of watching my son at Georgetown, so I got to watch a lot of Pittsburgh, and I knew he could play. Now, I didn't think he'd be this good this quick, but he's good.
All right, should be fun here tonight. Big 24 hours coming up for the Celtics here. Then we're on to Oklahoma City. Kevin Durant is waiting out there, but first we got to get by Tim Duncan and company. Back to you guys.
All right, guys, thank you very much. That is Mike and Donnie, of course, down in San Antonio, where tonight the Celtics will take on the Spurs. Still to come, Celtics pregame live. That is Ray Allen working out at 4 p.m. Central Time. That is 3 hours before tip. He's averaging 45.6.3 field goal percentage per game against San Antonio. Gary will try that again. His three-point field goal percentage against San Antonio is really good. Greg and A-Sherrod Blakely of CSN A&E tells us why Ray has been on fire as of late.
You're watching Celtics pregame live on Comcast Sportsnet.
We are coming to you live at the corner of French Street and Causeway. Ace Ticket Studios. Gary Tangler, Tommy Heinsohn, Ace Ticket pregame live. Tonight, the Celtics continue this road trip as they take on the Spurs down in San Antonio. All right, we're joined right now by A-Sherrod Blakely of CSNNE.com, our Celtic insider, and our own Greg Dickerson. Guys, what's up with Ray Allen? Guy's been on fire as of late.
Yeah, Ray Allen has played well, even though his mind has certainly been on that of his son Walker, dealing with his diabetes in and out of the hospital. Let's start with Ray and our Amica shot chart. It's not just how you're covered, it's how you're treated. 5 for 6 from behind the three-point arc the other night against Charlotte, 27 points. Now, we have yet to really see Ray go on one of those Ray Allen streaks of 4 or 5 games. I get the sense that one may be coming up soon.
Well, you know, Ray, what we saw the other night, I think was the beginning of Ray's breakout. You know, he's so due to have a run like that. And Ray, such a great shooter for so long, you know it's just bound to happen. The thing that I like what Ray has been able to do is he's been very patient with his shots. He's not rushing. He's taking what the defense is giving him, and he's making teams pay. Yeah, and I think Ray has also really attacked the basket, and we've talked about this during the broadcast earlier on in the season, probably attacked the basket more than we've certainly seen in the last couple of years in a Celtic uniform. Yeah, and that's a part of his game I think that is so underrated. You know, Ray, you think about Ray Allen, you think 3-ball, but Ray can do so much more. You know, he's an athletic guy. Even though he's a little bit older, he still can get up there and drive to the basket and make teams pay in the paint. Good news on Glenn Davis. Had pins removed from his fractured thumb. A cast was taken off, and then another cast was put on. Now, Doc wasn't sure if it was the same cast. Now, Glenn Davis had told me last week that he was going to have a soft cast put on that hand yesterday. So I'm going to go with Glenn and say it was a soft cast, but we're still not going to see him anytime soon. Well, as someone who's had broken fingers, that's usually how that process works. How'd that happen, by the way, Sherrod? Did you punch anybody in a story? No, okay. But usually what happens is you go from the hard cast to the soft cast, and then after that you begin rehabilitation for the injury. And so Glenn Davis is on track. I would guesstimate he's going to be back within a couple of months. But again, couple of months or a couple of weeks? Well, he'll be able to actually rehab in a couple of weeks. But I think if you're looking to see something similar to what we're used to seeing out of Glenn Davis, you're going to have to wait a couple of months for that, folks. I think the great thing with Glenn Davis right now, and Doc Rivers talked about this, he is in terrific shape. Just seeing him over the last couple of weeks, I know some people were concerned that being away from the team, being off the basketball floor in a game situation, that his weight may become an issue. Hasn't been at all. You know, I can see it. Doc said it, that he looks in even better shape than he did before the injury. I know some people think that with the way Sheldon Williams has played, there's not going to be any time for Glenn Davis when he comes back. I disagree. I think there's room for both, like there was room in the past for Leon Poe and Glenn Davis. Yeah, but I think what Glenn is going to have to do, he's going to have to earn his way back onto the court now. You know, the way this injury came about, I think it really forced him to really grow up a little bit and just really understand that, you know, whatever he's out there doing, you know, away from basketball, it can't affect you to the point where you're missing games. And so I think he's taking added motivation and getting his body right and really trying to make amends for what happened. Could 12 Glenn Davises with a cast on their hand beat 12 healthy New Jersey Nets? I normally say no, but you know what? The Nets, they're a different kind of team. You know, this team is just, they have struggled like no team in NBA history has struggled, and frankly, I just don't know when it's going to end. Can you believe, and I know a lot of it certainly had to do with injuries, but I look at this team and I see obviously a terrific point guard, an all-star caliber point guard in Devin Harris. I think one of the best young centers in the game in Brook Lopez. You throw in Chris Douglas Roberts, Courtney Lee, who we all saw during the playoffs last year. I just can't understand why not only are they not winning
winning games, but they're getting blown out with these guys on the floor.
Yeah, well, what happens when you start losing games, no matter what coaches and players say, it becomes a mental issue. And it gets to the point now where guys are going into games knowing they've lost before they even step on the floor. And as soon as you start missing a couple shots, you start missing a couple more, and the next thing you know, you're down by 35 points and you're not even at halftime.
Real quickly, when do they get their first W?
Sometime in 2009.
They got Charlotte and then the Knicks. I think they beat the Knicks. We got plenty more here from the AT&T Center and Celtic pregame live. Gary, Tommy, let's go back to you in the Ace Ticket studio.
Okay, Sherrod, way to go out on a limb, my friend. Way to take a risk. Time for the JRM Hauling and Recycling Talking Trash. Let's roll it.
Opportunity to come back here. You know, it was just something I couldn't turn down. And I'm just happy. If I couldn't play basketball at the level that I'm accustomed to, then I wouldn't have made a decision. I didn't want to come back and embarrass myself. You know I can play.
That is Allen Iverson at his press conference, back with the 76ers, a team that he brought to the World Championship. Got a one-year non-guaranteed contract. I've never, ever thought I'd see a humble AI.
Did he sign the contract? Why was he crying? I don't know. You know, basketball players can be very emotional because, you know, look at Rasheed Wallace. He gets emotional. All basketball players ought to get themselves revved up are emotional people. And this is tear time for Iverson, I guess.
Tear time. Tear time, says Tommy. New England tailgate with the boys tonight at 8 o'clock. Comcast Sportsnet following this show, Celtics pregame live. It's got Glenn Ordway, Fred Smerler, Steve Diassi, presented by Jack Daniels, old number 7. New England tailgate right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Still to come on Celtics pregame live, Antonio McDyess, one of the new fixtures for the San Antonio Spurs. Tommy told you about him earlier. Coming up next, Greg goes one-on-one with the ex-teammate of Rasheed Wallace. Don't go away. We are coming to you live from the Ace Ticket studio down on Causeway Street. The Celtics are not across the street at the Garden. They are in San Antonio tonight to take on the San Antonio Spurs. I'm Gary Tangway. In 2004, both Rasheed Wallace and Antonio McDyess arrived in Detroit. In 2009, both of them left the Motor City. Antonio will be taking on his old friend and teammate in Wallace tonight when the two teams meet in San Antonio. And he told our own Greg Dickerson, that's going to be kind of weird.
And one of my good friends, you know, great teammate in the locker room. It's going to be weird playing against him. You know, I played so many years with him. We went to battle together on that court. So playing against him is definitely going to be weird. But
does he not get the credit he probably deserves for being a teammate? Because obviously most fans and media, they pick up on the technicals and the you know, the scowls, but every teammate I've ever talked to, every coach I've ever talked to, say nothing but great things about him as a teammate.
Oh, no question. He's the best teammate I done had, you know, by far. You know, he's just so competitive. I think because he's so competitive, he takes it out on the court, and all his emotions come out on the court when he get bad calls, or, you know, because he want to win so bad. And I think that's one of his downfalls, because he takes it all out on the court with him. So
can you tell him to calm down? Is that not a good thing to do?
You tell him, but you know, he pretty much you know, do what he want. But you know, because his emotions are always out on the court, so it don't matter how much you tell him. I have told him before, other teammates have told him, but Rasheed is Rasheed, and he's gonna do what he do.
Tommy, is it strange playing against the next teammate?
Not really. I mean, you battle each other in practice, and I don't think they'll really see each other an awful lot tonight. I mean, McDyess is starting, as I understand it, and Rasheed will be coming off the bench. And they may play a few minutes together, but the matchup with Perk and his buddy up there in Minnesota is one to watch.
Tim Duncan, he's one to watch. 5-game winning streak last week for the Spurs. He played in 3 of those games, averaging some pretty good numbers. Final thoughts with Tommy coming up. Tonight's right after the game. Switch it back to your home for the Celtics. Comcast Sportsnet, presented by your New England Ford dealers at Celtics Postgame Live. You'll hear from Doc, Mike, and Donnie from the floor of the AT&T Center. Greg and A. Sherrod Blakely, we've got you covered after tonight's big game with Celtics Postgame Live right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Then it's our brand new show. It is premiere night up at Comcast, and it is Sportsnet Central. Sean McAdam on the hot stove. We've got Celtics Spurs recap, and plus a Tom Brady exclusive one-on-one with Michael Felger. Okay, it's time to check out TD Banks, Tommy and Mike's mailbag. You ready to dip into the mailbag? Let's see what's going on here. This is Jay in Nashville, New Hampshire. Tommy's going to like this one. Have you heard about Rondo wanting to race Titans running back Chris Johnson? What do you think about that? Who would win, Tom?
I barely heard about it. Did I hear about it? You know, both of them are terrific athletes, but I'm going to say this about Rondo. Rondo was adjudged by the people who measure the athletic ability of all the people down in the pre-draft camps as the best athlete they've ever seen. So I would give the edge to Rondo.
I mean, Rondo was a quarterback in high school. Remember that? Loved football before he loved basketball. I think it'd be a heck of a race, no doubt about it. And by the way, Rondo denied saying anything. We're just having fun here. We're not trying to stir anything up. Tommy and Mike's mailbag, the most convenient way for you to reach the guys. Just email them at csnne.com. Your question could be used during pregame live or on the website. It is the most convenient way to talk directly with Tommy and Mike from TD Bank, America's most convenient bank. Okay, Tommy, game coming up.
Yes.
Final thoughts.
Well, I'd like to see the same focus they had in the last ball game, and they seem to be able to muster that. Hopefully it'll show again tonight.
All right, it's going to be a great game. Kevin Garnett getting ready for action down at the AT&T Center. It's going to be the Celtics and the Spurs. Please join us for Celtics Postgame Live right after the game. We'll have all the information you need.
The gods of ancient Greece bear many forms in modern society. Tonight, this mythical world morphs into its basketball counterpart. Driven by a slew of supreme beings, Poseidon, god of the green sea, exudes power and decisiveness, a competitor pursuing revenge on those who have angered him. Ares, god of war, answers the challenge, a hand-to-hand combatant, said to play by the rules, but dictates a cold and calculating cast by comparison. Swift and athletic, Hermes, god of motion, is always on the go, striving for absolute harmony, but this Olympian must find a way to utilize his heralded staff. Apollo, the sun god, is a true master of poetics. Guided by a team of punishers, his measure of accuracy borders perfection. Duels of honor and chaos ahead. It's the NBA on TNT.
Kevin Garnett's gone 27 for 35, a sizzling 77% in his last 4 games, and the Celtics head to San Antonio with a 5-game winning streak. Tim Duncan and the Spurs have a 5-game streak of their own. It's the jumping off point of another Thursday night doubleheader on TNT as we welcome you to TNT NBA Tip-Off, presented by Autotrader.com. The Celtics and Spurs, followed by D. Wade and the Heat in Denver to meet Melo and the Nuggets. We welcome you to TNT Arena, Studio J in Atlanta, Ernie Johnson and Kenny Smith. We talk about the Boston Celtics and the San Antonio Spurs starting things off here. And, you know, Kevin Garnett, I gave you the numbers a second ago. You talk about, he said like a week ago, I don't want to talk about my name, I'm done talking about that. He is showing that he is back in full effect. 27 of his last 35 from the field.
Well, these are the two best power forwards in the game right now. And over the last decade, Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett, they battled every single year to see who is the numero uno power forward in the last decade. And Kevin Garnett is saying, you know what, I'm still making my claim on it because I'm not done. Yes, my knee was hurt last year, and I'm the reason why there wasn't back-to-back championships in Boston.
And you know what? He's getting some help on the front line as you look at Duncan. Kendrick Perkins has been playing solid ball, and even drawing praise from Robert Parrish, chief, who's worked with him in the past. Says he's a throwback, loves the way he works in the paint, doesn't go outside to do his stuff, really gets down and dirty.
He's a traditional American big man. Yeah. You know, where back to the basket, he wants to feel you on the offensive end, takes the contact, wants the contact, and is going to push you out of the paint on the defensive end. That's old school American centers where you're supposed to be. John Thompson right now is clapping high fives because at Georgetown he taught all of his big men how to do that.
Celtics are 14-4. They have not had a starter miss a game so far this season, second best record in the East. Meantime, San Antonio, they've only had one starter start every game, and that's Richard Jefferson. Duncan's missed a couple of games, but Tim is still putting them up. 19 points, 11 rebounds, 6th in rebounds in the league. Where's San Antonio in your mind right now? Aside from record 9-6, where are they in the shake of things in the West?
Well, it depends on if they can stay out the nurse's office. So if they can stay out of the nurse's office, they're going to be fine. 9-6 is not an indication because it isn't the starting 5. They're probably the second best team in the Western Conference. They're better than Dallas to me. They're better than Phoenix. And to me, they're still better than Denver. But they don't show it because they're in the nurse's office. They have someone with a thermometer in their mouth every week. And when you do that in the NBA, you can't be one of the best teams.
There is Manu Ginobili, who's had a thermometer in his mouth a lot early in the season here, and they look for win number 10 tonight against the Boston Celtics. Let's move on now. It was nearly 3 years ago that Allen Iverson had a well-chronicled falling out with a team that had drafted him 10 years earlier, and now, after underwhelming stints in Denver, Detroit, and Memphis, he's going back to Philadelphia. He's going to play against the Nuggets Monday, and if today's press conference was any indication, Monday's going to be emotional.
When I had the opportunity to come back here, it was something I couldn't turn down. And I'm just happy. I created, like with the mistakes that I made in my life, I created a picture of me is not me. I did a lot of things when I was young that I'm not proud of, but I think, those things helped me to be the man that I am now. That's what I do. If I couldn't play basketball at the level that I'm accustomed to, then I wouldn't have made the decision. I didn't want to come back and embarrass myself. I know I can play, and I'm going to prove that.
Something to see on Monday.
NBA TV, I will be tuned in. I'm telling you.
No kidding.
Monday night, AI in the building.
And wouldn't you know, it's against one of those teams that he was with for those short time, the Denver Nuggets, and then they got Detroit on Wednesday.
I'm putting it in right now. Monday and Wednesday. Wife, do not call me. Don't bother me. Stay out of the room. Kids, if it's only KJ's allowed in the room because he likes basketball, the rest of y'all leave me alone. Keep getting on Monday and Wednesday.
What are your expectations for what he's going to be able to do in Philadelphia?
I just really think that when he left Philadelphia, he was a player that without him, those other guys weren't really as good as they could have been. Eric Snow had a stint and a run, Aaron McKee. But then when he left, Iguodala and Dalembert are not the same players that when he returns. They will help him become a better player. He doesn't have to help them anymore. They found their identity. This is a great situation for him because now, as he's in his latter years, he doesn't have to make players better. He has some guys that can actually make him better. And you throw in all of those guys that are there now.
Eddie Jordan has not committed to whether or not he will start on Monday.
Oh, he's going to start. He's going to start at that position. If it's Monday, if it's Wednesday, he's the starting point guard. Lou Williams is out. And when Lou Williams plays great off the bench, so when he comes back, he's going to play great off the bench. And now we might even see an Elton Brand sighting because when you have energy in the building and everyone starts paying attention to detail, all of those different meetings that you have, they're going to be paying attention now. And all of the details, and all of a sudden, guys start playing better.
Hey, they've lost 8 in a row, and you're selling playoff tickets. Back with more in a minute on NBA Tip-Off, presented by Autotrader.com. All-Star balance.
But another player, as Kenny mentioned, Kendrick Perkins, shooting 64% from the field, had his best game of the year on Monday against the Bobcats. 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 block shots. Going to have his hands full against Tim Duncan tonight, but if they need a bucket down low, they know they can go to Big Perk.
Odds are the Spurs started slowly, but it's been a different story as of late.
Well, after a 4-6 start, they started to put it together now. This franchise knows where they want to go. It's a championship. They're not necessarily in a hurry to get there.
All right, let's take a look at the starting lineups for the Celtics. Up front, they'll go with 6-time All-Star Paul Pierce, 12-time All-Star Kevin Garnett, and Kendrick Perkins, who, as Reggie mentioned, has emerged. At the guards, Ray Allen, who broke out with a season-high 27 the other night at Charlotte, and Rajon Rondo. Celtics have won 7 of 8 on the road. For the Spurs, on the front line, Tim Duncan off to a good start. He's averaging 18 and 11. New additions, Richard Jefferson and Antonio McDyess. And on the backcourt, defensive gear, Keith Bogans, with Tony Parker, who's taken on the role of running the offense these days. The officiating crew, Dick Pavetta, Mark Davis, and Benny Adams, and we are underway in San Antonio as the Spurs control. This is a team that started out 4-6. They dropped 3 straight. Now the 5 straight wins. At home, they've won 8 of 10. Jefferson played by Pierce. As they clear it out, Jefferson with the shot. Rebounded by Perkins.
Well, what I meant about this team knows where they want to get to, the Spurs, but are not necessarily in a hurry to get there. They know with 7 new pieces, trying to adjust to a new offensive philosophy now, speeding the game up a little bit. It's going to take them a little bit of time. The end is the most important thing to them.
Ray Allen not able to hit from 3. Boston comes in at 14-4, second best record in the East. Orlando at 15-4. Doc Rivers telling us that San Antonio more effective at the offensive end. They've been taking quicker shots, although this possession goes down to 2 on the 24. Duncan knocks it down.
And the reason why they're taking quicker shots is the freedom he's allowed Tony Parker. Understanding this guy's been in the league 9 years now. He understands Pop's offense and his philosophies. He has a package, as they call him, on makes and misses.
And he has been handling the offense about 80% of the way. So he's come a long way when you think back to what was going on. As that pass thrown away, Bogans came up with it 9 years ago when Parker came into the league, as Duncan is not able to hit on the follow. It appeared that Parker was the whipping boy of Greg Popovich. If anything went wrong, he'd be right in the face of Tony Parker. Rondo able to knock down that jump shot.
And he says he went through the same philosophy with Avery Johnson, and towards the end of Avery Johnson's career here, he was running the offense 80% of the time. So Pop just kind of likes to crack the whip a little bit on these young point guards, shape them the way he wants the game to be played out. And look, he's an all-star, was a finals MVP, and one of the best point guards in this game.
Is there a whole lot of difference between what Pop has done with Tony Parker and what Doc Rivers has done with Rondo in that championship season? Everyone said they'll never win a championship with the rookie there, Rondo playing the point guard spot for him, but Rivers got it done.
Oh, Jefferson able to take advantage, went right around Perkins. And Rajon Rondo still a work in progress, but continues to improve. He's averaging 11 points, 9 assists. He had big moments during the postseason a year ago. Pierce lost the handle. Shot clock down to 5. Down to 3. Pierce from downtown.
One of the 3-point shooting teams the Boston Celtics are in the league. Shooting close to about 36-37%. Right there, a wide open shot for Paul Pierce.
Boston has won the last 3 games here in San Antonio after losing 15 in a row last March. Celtics won by 3. As it turned out, Tony Parker missed 4 free throws in the final 50 seconds. At one point in the 1980s, the Celtics won 20 straight against the Spurs. San Antonio at one stretch won 18 in a row against Boston. That was in the Tim Duncan era, and that streak was stopped back in 2007. Here's Allen, yes, and the foul. The foul is committed by Bogans.
Well, nice move there by Ray Allen, using his off-the-dribble game, just getting Keith Bogans on his hip. Look at just the raise up, and Keith Bogans is just a little bit late, gets the tap on the right wrist for the and one. You see the reaction here by Paul Pierce.
We're talking about tempo with both of these teams. They'll take a quick break, either team, but basically These teams run a lot of passes, a lot of cuts, a lot of screens. They both rank very low in the league when you're talking about shot attempts per game. Boston, in fact, 28th in the league, taking just over 76 field goal attempts per game. And for San Antonio, just really 2 shots more per game. So they're at the bottom. They use up the clock a lot. They try to get high percentage shots.
Miscommunication between Parker and Bogans and McDyess.
But it's 2 times that because of Boston's denials, hard denials on defense, that they forced turnovers. That's the reason why Boston ranks 3rd in the league in steals overall. Almost 9 steals per game. They get up in passing lanes.
Nice pass from Garnett. Rondo could not finish. It's an 8-4 lead for the Celtics. Duncan played by Perkins. Ball was slapped away. Perkins got a piece of it. Here's Rondo on a 2-on-1. The feed for Ray Allen. 8 unanswered points by the Celtics.
That's the 3rd turnover for the Spurs right here, resulting in an easy fast break for the Celtics.
They double up on Parker. McDyess not allowed the shot. Down to 3 on the 24. Here's Parker squeezing his way. Offensive foul.
From our angle, it almost looked like Parker was going to be able to slice through there and come back to his right, but he couldn't do that. Pierce had established his position. You'll see Parker come off a Duncan screen. He tries to slice over, but you see Pierce just move a little bit to his left last second, takes the charge and gets enough for the body there for the official to call it an offensive foul.
And that is 4 straight turnovers committed by San Antonio. So the Celtics off to the fast start. Interesting, Doc Rivers telling us earlier at times he is concerned with his team's tendency. Nice pass again inside from Garnett, sets it up for Perkins. He feels at times his team paces themselves. It appears, he says, we have a switch we can just turn on and off, but you don't have that switch. Well, the switch is on right now.
Well, you like when you have your bigs being able to pass the ball to one another. You see the nice dish off there by KG to pick to Perkins, and then off the steal right here, Rondo. 2-on-1, you find Jesus Shuttlesworth for the easy slam.
Welcome back to San Antonio, where the Celtics lead early and where Ray Allen is back with his teammates. The Allen family had a very frightening Thanksgiving weekend. Their youngest son, Walker, 2 years old, had to be taken to the hospital after suffering symptoms from the diabetes that was first diagnosed during the 2008 NBA Finals. Walker was sick for several hours. Ray Allen missed practice on Saturday, but then when his son got better, he was allowed to come back to the team and decided to join him on the road trip. Ray told me that the doctors still aren't exactly sure what caused his son to be sick, but that Walker's okay now, watching Daddy Celtics on TV. Their oldest son may be in sympathy with little Walker. Ray said he also has been getting sick when his young brother was getting sick, something I'm sure that happened in the Miller household when Reggie had the sniffles, Mark.
There's no question about that.
All the time. All the time.
Foul is called on McDyess, but Ray Allen bouncing back in that win in Charlotte on Tuesday night. His best performance of the season, 27 in all, 5 of 6 from downtown. Perkins at the line off that San Antonio foul by McDyess. In fact, Ray had been struggling from 3-point range. Just 10 of his previous 41 before going 5 for 6 against the Bobcats.
And I watched that game as Perkins missed both free throws and looked like he had better balance on his jump shot.
Footwork of Duncan as he makes his move and gets the roll.
You see the length of Duncan that time, long enough, just gets it up high enough over the top of Perkins and gets the friendly roll at the end.
Celtics with a 12-8 lead. At one point they had a 10-0 run. Here's Allen getting the step and lost it. Celtics get back. Jefferson called for the travel.
Jefferson didn't know what he wanted to do. He had a 1-on-2 fast break, couldn't decide whether to try and attack both guys. Kind of knew that's not the right thing to do, and then tried to pull it back out again. Here he's in the attack mode, but then nope, let me pull it up, and winds up traveling with it.
Richard Jefferson acquired from the Bucks in that deal for Kurt Thomas, Fabricio Alberto, and Bruce Bowen. That's a three-point attempt by Pierce, rebounded by Duncan. Richard Jefferson spent 7 years with the Nets. A couple of years back, averaged 22 a game. Here's McDyess, and on the back tap, Allen is on it. Here's Garnett. Yes, Kevin Garnett. 5 of 8 the other night against the Bobcats. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 16 points. He's had a couple of strong games. 2 games back, played well against Miami. Duncan throwing glass.
And that is great offense by Tim Duncan. Great defense by Kendrick Perkins. You know, he's crowding him. He's making him turn to his off shoulder. Just a better offensive move.
Garnett. And the rebound is handled by Bogans. Greg Popovich telling us how much he loves Keith Bogans, a guy who has certainly made the rounds of the NBA, but does not need the ball. So players love to play alongside. On the steal, here is Rondo. Rajon Rondo on the breakaway.
Yeah, this has been a very sloppy first quarter for the Spurs. 6 turnovers resulting in 9 points for the Boston Celtics.
You mentioned the fact that Bogans is one of the favorites of Popovich, Mark. You know what it is? They have 2 replacement pieces as Tony Parker's fouled going to the basket. Bogans is kind of the replacement for Bowen, okay, who was the defensive guy, didn't have a lot, have to have a lot of shots each game, go out and play the toughest man at the other end. And then McDyess is the replacement for Alberto, but a different kind of replacement because McDyess can burn you with 17-foot jump shots, whereas Alberto was a defender, a rebounder, and a ball facilitator.
Yeah, Greg Popovich saying that Bogan's a little bit more physical than Bowen. San Antonio, his 5th team in his 8 NBA years. Now Bogan sits down, as does McDyess. Manu Ginobili hears it from the crowd as he comes on, along with Matt Bonner. Bonner has done a terrific job off the bench. And Manu Ginobili, who had been out with a strained left groin, will be San Antonio ball. Mano returning on Sunday night of the game against Philadelphia after missing 5 games, and he played 16 minutes on Sunday.
And you talk with Greg Popovich, this is his best probably offensive lineup when you've got Richard Jefferson and Manu Ginobili on the floor at the same time, along with Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and Bonner knocking down threes.
Here's Bonner. Duncan missed the tip. Rebounded by Garnett. Rondo picks up the screen and is not able to hit. Rebounded by Duncan. Next box out against Perkins. 4 minutes to play in this first quarter. Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, Nazar, Mike Fratello, David Aldridge. We are in San Antonio. Ginobili for 3. What is this about Rajon Rondo challenging Tennessee Titans running back, guy with blazing speed, Chris Johnson, to a race? Oh, Jefferson with a beautiful catch and a tough pass to handle from Tony Parker. It counts in the foul.
Parker knew just how far to lay the ball out in front, and then it was a question whether or not Jefferson could find the handle. He grabs it, he's fouled, he finishes.
Foul committed by Pierce. We asked Doc Rivers about that challenge issued by Rajon Rondo. He said, you know, at one point last year, the fastest man in the world, maybe in history, Usain Bolt, visited the Celtic locker room, and Rajon goes up to him and tells him, you know, I can beat you in a race.
I understand Chris Johnson, and actually I would like to see that race. I think Rondo, one of the fastest players in the NBA, I think he would give Chris Johnson a run for his money. I don't think he would win, but he'd give him a run for his money. But to challenge the fastest man probably ever in Usain Bolt, that guy has, that's unbelievable speed that Bolt has.
And then Tennessee linebacker Chris Bullock said he wants to race Rondo. I should say Keith Bullock. And Rondo said he'd like to do this during the All-Star weekend. Now there's a look at the tell of the tape. Now, with the basketball, I don't think there'd be any question because Rondo's one of the fastest in the NBA with the ball.
Well, this is when you get into, are you talking about who's faster or quicker? Now, definitely, if you were going by quickness and little bursts of speeds, I would definitely go with Rondo. But if you're going in a 40-yard dash, just straight up picking up speed, I would have to go with Johnson.
You're handicapping it already.
Yes, I am. Kind of like our good friend Dick Pavetta, who's joined the game tonight, and Sir Charles.
A couple of years back. Here's Garnett. Yes, Kevin Garnett. Last 3 games hitting that outside shot. So with 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter, Boston is out by 6. Marquise Daniels has come on for the Celtics. Bonner is open for 3. Good back tap by Duncan.
Bonner comes on now playing against the second unit since he hasn't been starting, and it's a lot easier for him to get open looks, and he's much more comfortable. Nice pass on the inside. They call it a goaltending. 2 points, San Antonio.
Pretty look from Richard Jefferson. And Parker with the bucket. Timeout is taken by the Celtics. Let's take a close-up look at the speed of Rajon Rondo.
I'm not sure we've determined the length of the race yet, have we? But this guy certainly gets down the court quickly and finishes pretty well.
We haven't had a team this talented in a while. We know the franchise made a big effort to bring players in like McDyess, Jefferson, Bogans, and the rest. So we know we have a big shot, as I told you before. There are other great teams, but this is our chance, and we don't want to wait for next year or 2 more. This is the year, and we got to get it.
Manu, at first, a little bit offended by the fact that someone might have suggested that this is their last chance. But then in the end, he ultimately says what they know. Time is running out for this team. They've got to take a shot now.
Well, general manager R.C. Buford, over the years, along with Greg Popovich, has done a terrific job in rebuilding the Spurs, keeping the core group. Follows on Bonner. There's R.C. You see these are the significant additions made by San Antonio, and this after they finished the number 5 seed last season at 54-28. Under normal conditions, that's an excellent season, first in the Southwest Division. But in the playoffs, they lost to Dallas in 5, the Spurs' earliest playoff exit since back in 2000. Bucket by Paul Pierce. Boston is up by 6.
Well, you're always going to have a shot when you have a healthy Tim Duncan, a healthy Manu Ginobili, who missed 38 games last year, and Tony Parker. They just kind of want to tinker as a foul on Rasheed Wallace, and he has to be careful with his already leading 8 technicals. And this is what he's complaining about right here, is he felt that he got around and got all ball, and he might be right on that.
Rasheed coming on for the first time. Brian Scalabrine now checks in for Kevin Garnett.
There you see Rasheed Wallace, 8 technicals already in 18 games.
And the NBA suspends players 1 game for each technical after number 16. He had a career high of 41 with Portland. That was back in 2000, 2001. Here's Duncan with a driving hook. Crowd wanted a goaltender. Thought Scalabrine interfered with it. This is George Hill, who just came on for San Antonio. Hill with the shot. Too strong, and rebounded by Rondo. Wallace guarded by Duncan. They clear it out. Here is Rasheed. It counts, and the foul on Duncan.
Well, what you see is Rasheed Wallace not at the 4 spot, power forward position. He's in as a center, a 5-man, and they locate him right down low on the block right now, shooting only 38% from the perimeter, not having a great year shooting, but here feels Duncan on his back, turns, faces up, gets it over the top, gets the foul, has a chance for a 3-point play. I'm not sure, Reggie, that Rasheed Wallace is in the kind of shape that you need to be in to play the important minutes he's going to have to play for this Celtic team.
He's not in great shape, and that's why they can only primarily play him at the 5 position. They would like to play him at the 4 position along with Kevin Garnett at times, but right now he can only spell Kendrick Perkins at that 5 position, and hopefully as these games progress, he can work his way back into basketball shape.
Eddie House has come on for the first time for Boston. Here is Ginobili over Daniels. Scalabrine is on it. Pierce with Wallace, Daniels, House. Michael Finley has checked him for the first time. Gave it right back to Hill. Misses on a three. Duncan is blocked by Wallace. Pierce comes away with the crowd looking for a travel. Look out as Hill and House collide on a foul committed on House.
That was a bad pass there by Paul Pierce as he taps his chest, telling Eddie House, that's my bad. You never want to throw a cross-court pass with that much traffic, especially in white, getting back in transition, which results in George Hill getting the foul and going to the line.
And both teams now over the foul limit. Looking ahead, national coverage of the NBA continues tomorrow on ESPN. It's the Bulls and the Cavaliers, followed by the Heat and Lakers. Coverage starting 7:30 Eastern Time. Monday on NBA TV, Nuggets and the Sixers as Allen Iverson makes his return to Philadelphia. That'll be his first game. Coverage starting 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then NBA TV's Fan Night. Go to NBA.com/NBA TV and vote now for the game that you want to watch this Tuesday. The voting ending at midnight Eastern Time tonight. Guys, what's your reaction to the Sixers apparently changing their minds, signing Allen Iverson? It's a non-guaranteed contract at the veterans minimum.
Well, I saw a man tonight in that press conference with Allen Iverson. You know, we're always on ESPN and so forth showing his infamous practice press conference. What about practice? We're talking about practice. I hope they start, as you see the career numbers of Allen Iverson, I hope they start showing this press conference about Allen Iverson. He was very contrite. He was very thoughtful, reflected on his career, and he's just thankful to be back in the league and in a place where he had so much success.
Scalabrine not able to hit the three, and it's tipped in inadvertently by the Spurs.
Juan Blair going up for the rebound, tried to grab it with one hand rather than two, and actually tipped the ball in the basket.
Juan Blair, the rookie from Pitt, who has played well, as you mentioned, tried to one-hand it, and it backfired. So that counts for Boston. They now lead it by 10. Final seconds of the first. Ginobili with the step back. The Spurs missed their last 6 shots. A 7-1 run for Boston. Greg Popovich not happy with his team in this opening quarter. They shoot 1 of 5 from the line. They turn it over 6 times, and they are down after 1. Back at the Alamo City, we are at the AT&T Center, San Antonio, and right here, time for the Coach's Corner, presented by Ford. Moments ago, David Aldridge with Celtic head coach Doc Rivers.
Doc, a lot of deflections, a lot of turnovers. I assume you're happy with that.
Yeah, you know, I was happy with our defense. We gave them a lot of second shots, actually. Bobbled the ball a couple times, so we're both turning it over. Nice tip by Blair. We appreciated that. But other than that, I like what's going on.
You keep Rasheed one-on-one with Duncan, given his history of defending him in the past.
Well, we want to stay one-on-one with everybody, really. I think when you have to trap, you weaken your defense. So we're going to probably stay one-on-one all night with everyone. Thanks.
All right, David. Scalabrine not able to hit Wallace, keeping it alive, and a foul is called on San Antonio. Let's take another look at that inadvertent tip-in by the rookie DeJuan Blair.
It almost looked like he meant to do it. I mean, where's his offhand if he's bringing it to his left hand? He didn't even have his left hand up, coach, to bring it to the basketball. It's almost like he was purposely tipping it in.
I think the rebound came wide right, and as he tried to reach back with the right hand and, was going to bring it to the left hand, I think he just lost control of it, and it wound up going in.
Foul on George Hill, and that puts Rasheed Wallace at the line. Earlier we were talking with Doc Rivers. He made a strong statement to us. He said, his major concern about the Celtics, he says, nothing seems to excite this team right now. He'd like to see us up for games more often. And he also mentioned, the opponent every night is us. We haven't come close to our own expectations in more than half our games. But This is a team that is 14-4, second best record in the East behind Orlando.
Well, he's understanding this is a championship caliber team, but they haven't shown that 48-minute-a-night team yet. And he says right now we're basically, as Manu Ginobili slips back door for the easy lay-in, right now we're a switch team. We think we can turn the light switch on and off anytime we want. And if we want to be a championship caliber team, which he feels that they are, they've got to play 48 minutes each and every night.
Nice pass from Finley to set it up for Ginobili. Nice pass right there, and that'll put Wallace back at the line.
So when you look at the unit that Boston has on the floor right now, here you have all these perimeter guys with Rasheed Wallace. So they run their stuff on the outside handoffs, pick and rolls. They swing it around the perimeter, but then Wallace all of a sudden is their post-up guy, and Doc actually likes him in the low post area. They like to establish him in the low post early in the game.
Foul on Finley, so Wallace back to the line.
Well, not only does he like him in the low post, he even went to Rasheed Wallace and said, look, you're settling for too many threes. You're only shooting 28% on the year. 2/3 of his shots have been from three-point range. We know you've got to work yourself into shape, but we need you, especially with this second unit, to establish a low post presence for us. And you looking on the floor right now, you've got a rookie in DeJuan Blair who is 4 to 5 inches shorter. You've got to use that advantage Boston Celtics do to their advantage having him down low.
By the way, Marv, in case you care, I have an opinion on Iverson returning also to Philadelphia.
We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, you asked Reggie how he felt about it.
I said guys.
There must be a time in the game that you'll get back to me.
Did I say guys?
My goodness.
All right, here is Ginobili. I said tell us during the commercial break. Very interesting.
That wasn't funny, Reg.
All right, Daniels fires one up, rebounded by Blair. Ray Allen has checked back in. House got picked off. Finley's pass broken up, comes back to him. Finley with a deep three. Allen and House and Daniels in a three-guard set for the Celtics. The big men are Wallace and Scalabrine. Wallace for three. Rebounded by Bonner.
And I would take DeJuan Blair down to the post every single time if I was Doc Rivers and the Celtics.
Bonner on the move, kicks it back out. Finley gets it inside. The bucket by DeJuan Blair. A very high-energy player, has that huge wingspan. He's listed at 6'7". He is, what would you say, Reg?
He's 6'4", 6'5".
6'4".
He's 6'4", 6'5".
An interesting player. He's one of those guys that when you look at him, you say, look, well, we can't play him. He's just too small. But yet he forces you to play him because of what he does when he gets on the court.
Wallace coming up short against Blair. Blair, second-round draft pick. He actually slipped down to the number 37 selection. There's Bonner. And Blair is right there. Last year, DeJuan Blair, 4th in the nation in rebounding. He averaged 12 a game at Pitt, led the nation in offensive rebounding.
That's his forte, offensive glass eating, and right there in the right place at the right time.
Allen not able to hit the three. Blair with the hustle, but he stepped out. Well, teams stayed away from DeJuan Blair because, and this is very unusual, he does not have an anterior cruciate ligament in either knee. He had surgery on both knees in high school, and his ACLs turned to scar tissue. So a combination of that and the fact that he's a rebounder, but as you say, goes about 6'4", 6'5", it kept teams away. Scalabrine passed on the shot. Crowd looking for the travel. Here's Allen with no room, able to squeeze it off against Ginobili.
And that was a pretty good defensive sequence for San Antonio, and yet you see when a great player is able to make a tough shot.
Timeout taken. Celtics with a 29-21 lead.
Well, this guy, DeJuan Blair, dropped to the 37th pick. R.C. Buford ecstatic to have another rebounder coming off the bench.
Hey, it's about our defense, guys. It's about our defense. Defense and ball movement. Defense and ball movement is perfect. Good job after a shaky start, moving the ball. We're attacking. Great running the floor. If you know you got it and you're going, that's fine. But you see that crowd form, hit that open man. Let your teammate play.
Well, Doc Rivers understating their defensive mission. They've got San Antonio shooting 35%, 1 of 5 from the free throw line, just 15 points in the first quarter, and they forced 9 turnovers. So, yes, it's all about defense. Right there, Blair with the tough shot and the opportunity for a three-point play.
How about the behind-the-back pass from Mono Ginobili?
Well, he's talking about sharing the basketball. Let your teammates get touches right there. Blair with a nice lay-in.
Actually, it was kind of a drop pass.
Well,
I'm seeing things.
I thought it was behind the back. It could have been mistaken as a behind the back.
That's not right. That is not right. You're going to go at your buddy like that?
Wait a second. As we see the DeJuan Blair profile. All right, let's hear what you have to say about Allen Iverson. You're looking to get in on the discussion.
I think it's a perfect situation with Lewis Williams going down. He walks in, Lewis Williams, a scoring point guard. Allen Iverson is a scorer, we know that. He can run the point, and this opportunity for him is going to make him really want to play and want to help Philadelphia continue to try and qualify for a playoff spot.
So let me ask you a question. Is he going to be a part of Eddie Jordan's Princeton offense?
You know, Eddie may have to tweak that a little bit. Remember, in the Princeton offense, they have that chin 15, they call it, which is a high pick and roll 1-5 in the middle of the floor, part of their offense. You'll see a lot of chin 15.
We'll be looking for that. Chin 15. Shot clock is down to 4. Here is Marquise Daniels, rebounded by Matt Bottom. Hill and Finley now in the backcourt with Bonner, Blair, and Jefferson up front. Good defense here by Daniels. Finley got the step. Michael Finley with a beautiful, that's a flashback move for Finley.
Sometimes the defense gets up and pressures so hard when you don't recover and give a quick step for some distance, you can't get back in front of the ball.
Rishin is called on Hill. 13 foul on the Spurs.
Well, Doc Rivers, one of his concerns coming into this game was going to be the bench production for the Spurs. Already 11 points, and you see Michael Finley with the nice off the dribble little finger roll. You're right, that is a flashback to his Phoenix Dallas days.
All right, here's Tim Duncan for DeJuan Blair, who hears it from the crowd. Blair 3 of 3 from the field, 6 points. And also had a bucket for the Celtics on that tip-in.
So technically, are you saying he's...
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
You know, Celtics up by 4. House for 3.
One of the big concerns for San Antonio, chase the Celtics off the three-point line. You almost saw another turnover that time as Hill got himself airborne, had nowhere to go at the last minute, a bailout pass.
Hill on the drive. Let's go with George Hill in his second season with the Spurs, a first-round draft pick last year from IUPUI, which, as you know, Czar, is Indiana University, Purdue University of Indianapolis. Reggie took about a half hour to explain that to us.
Better known as Ooey Pooey.
Of course. And here is Hill on the reverse and counts on the foul.
George Hill averaging 36 points, coming out of Broad Ripple High right here, going to Ooey Pooey with the nice little reverse left finish. Look at the control, uses his body, goes right into Rasheed Wallace, gets the contact and one.
You know, during that early 4 and 6 start for the Spurs, when they had injuries to Parker and Ginobili, and they were just trying to buy time until they got back, players like George Hill, like Roger Mason, like Blair, got huge minutes playing time, which obviously is helping him now.
So Hill to the line and looking to cut that lead down to 2. San Antonio just 1 of 6 at the foul line. Spurs here at home have won 8 and lost 2. The 2 losses at home to Oklahoma City. That's an improved Thunder team, and they lost to the Utah Jazz. They have won their last 5 straight games overall. They're playing game 2 of a 3-game homestand. They'll finish up with Denver on Saturday night. Again, the Spurs. Not able to hit a free throw, but the last touch by the Celtics.
And credit Bonner for coming in there, and he stuck that arm out there, just kind of tipped the ball, and it wound up going off a Celtic out of bounds, so they get another possession.
Well, that's the second time Bonner has done that to result in another possession for the Spurs. But right now, 1 of 7 from the free throw line, and you're only down 3 points.
Try to trap Hill. Good look from Bonner. Jefferson sets it up. Bonner for 3, and he is off. Too strong. Rebounded by Rondo, who just checked back in. Garnett is back, as is Perkins. Here's Perkins going at Duncan. And they have to reset. Shot clock to 7. Rondo.
George did the right thing right there. If you're going to live or die, let live or die with Rondo taking that jump shot.
Well, you can see the philosophy here in the first half. Not that it will change at some point, but San Antonio is going underneath all pick and roll screens that Rondo's involved with, daring him to become a high number of field goal attempt guy.
Shot clock at 3. Duncan. And Rondo able to cover that rebound. Duncan got picked off. Crowd looking for a foul. Garnett able to volleyball it to keep it alive. Good job defensively by the Spurs. Again, Boston has to regroup. Garnett, yes. Five and a half left in this first half, and the Celtics lead the Spurs 34-29. Is a problem with the shot clock. Dick Bavetta says, come on back.
Kevin Garnett's always been one of the best mid-range jump shooting big men this game has ever seen. In his younger days, especially in Minnesota, anywhere from 12, you can stretch that out to three-point range, but anywhere from 12 to about 18, 20 feet. Deadly jump shooter.
And he's come on as of late. A couple of games back against Miami. 11 of 12 from the field. 24 points, including a big shot down the stretch. Duncan is off. Allen rebounds. Still concerns about Garnett's knees, but as Doc Rivers told us, some days he looks very explosive. Other days, not the case. Garnett is open, gives it up for House from downtown. And last touch by Jefferson.
In fact, it's questionable whether he still does work on his knees as much as body maintenance, which may be more important at his age. You see Garnett get a good look over the top, hit another jumper.
Welcome back to San Antonio. Marv Albert, Lazar, Mike Fratello, Reggie Miller, David Aldridge working the sideline. And while we have a moment, we'd like to extend our condolences to Charles Barkley, who's not in the studio tonight. Charles's grandmother, Johnny Mae Mickens, passed away at the age of 83. I had the great pleasure of meeting Johnny Mae several years back. What a great lady. And it's a lot of Johnny Mae and Charles. She had a, let's say, twisted sense of humor at times.
It's fair to say.
Yes, but our best to Charles and his family. We're sorry to hear about the passing of his grandmother, Johnny Mae Mickens. Ray Allen comes up short, rebounded by Antonio McDyess. Just under 5 remaining in this first half, and the Celtics lead the Spurs 34-29. Here's Parker working hard on that drive.
Good job by Tony Parker, dipping that shoulder, putting a little body into Rondo, creating space and finishing.
Spurs have done a good job, especially after that very sloppy first quarter. Be down only 3 points, only 1 of 7 free throws, 0 of 6 from three-point line, but getting it done with their second unit and their transition.
Perkins, after that rebound, accidentally made contact with Duncan, and the foul is called on Perkins. Swung the elbow as he was protecting the ball and picks up the foul.
Well, what I think they got the foul on was the push in the back. See, the elbow does make contact. I would say that's inadvertent because he didn't mean to hit him in the face, but I think the foul happened before when he pushed Duncan in the back to go over top and get the rebound.
And Rondo is called for the reach-in as he tried to slap it away from Parker. San Antonio Spurs at 9-6. They have won their last 5. Their last game this past Sunday here at home, they beat the Sixers. Spurs shooting just under 50%. They have the touch from downtown, 10 of 18. Big game for Matt Bonner. He hit 4 threes. Michael Finley hit 3. Roger Mason has come on for the first time. That's Mason with it. Guarded by Allen. Shot clock at 3. McDyess. Rebounded by Rondo.
That's one of the big differences between McDyess and Alberto. Alberto would never think about shooting that shot. McDyess can hit that shot.
Garnett off the fake. Gets it down low to Perkins. It counts in the foul.
So what happens is Tim Duncan rotates to Garnett. So Garnett, rather than challenging somebody of his length, of his shot blocking ability, just simply finds the interior pass to his teammate.
But look at the pump fake, and this is the second assist by Kevin Garnett to Kendrick Perkins. The pump fake, 1 dribble, and it's the big passing that's been successful so far in this first half for the Celtics.
Perkins struggles at the line. He's 62%. And Kendrick getting more and more touches this season, set up primarily by Rajon Rondo. And I would say most of his field goals come from right by the rim, and he is shooting 64%, which is among the leaders in the league. Here's Parker twisting his way, and he's fouled by Rondo.
Tony Parker on the attack mode. He lets the screen come over as if he's going to use the pick and roll, and instead comes back to the weak side, gets an isolation versus Rondo.
Second foul on Rondo. Parker to the line.
Remember in the mid-90s when I was in Indiana and during the playoffs, watching these San Antonio Spurs when Kevin Garnett was with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and you know, Kenny mentioned it at the top, during the last decade, really for power forwards, it was Tim Duncan. Who's better, Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett? And the fierce battles these two guys used to go at it, really was no love lost. Tim Duncan had most of the jewelry and the hardware from winning championships, and Minnesota was always going out in the first round because they had to go against the Spurs in San Antonio.
Spurs finally hit a free throw. They're now 2 of 9 at the line. Tim Duncan is the only player in the history of the league to make an all-NBA team in his first 12 seasons. All-NBA first team 9 times. Allen is blocked and fouled. So Ray Allen, one of the best free throw shooters in the history of the league, will head to the line. The foul is on Mason, who has made his return here tonight. He sat out the last game against Philly, bothered by a strained left hamstring, just as he had overcome an early season shooting slump. Ray Allen on the season, 95%. He's 52 of 55 at the line.
Still the game's best pure shooter at the age of 35 years old. And you know why? Because he comes early and stays late. It's one thing I always tell these young players. If you can get into a routine, into a habit, look at Ray Allen and Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. They have a routine that they follow.
And that is deflected out. Last touch by the Celtics. Spurs take a timeout with just under 3 to go in this first half. First of our TNT doubleheader as you look at the Riverwalk here in San Antonio.
Is that the Czar?
I doubt it. He doesn't. Does not be in the hotel. Referred to the heated rivalry between Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan. And on the subject of heated rivalries, Doc Rivers was telling us earlier, discussing a melee between you and Doc 20 years ago. December 30th, 1989. You're with the Pacers. He's with the Czars Atlanta Hawks. He got into it during the... Who was that guy? A very youthful-looking Mike Fratello, who clearly had no control over his players. As Doc Rivers was ejected, you were merely assessed a technical. Pacers won the game. I'm told you scored 28 points, and there's a little backstory to this as Mason fires a rainbow that comes up short, kept alive by Duncan. But Doc said, as we see the teardrop from Parker, that Actually, John Battle of the Hawks was involved with you. Doc had a bad back, was not going to play anymore. And the enforcer, the coach, Fratello, says to Doc, go in, and something to the effect of, you take care of Reggie. That's like the Philadelphia Flyer mentality with the hammer Dave Schultz.
Marv, I was very dismayed because my beef was with John Battle, and I was giving it to John Battle, so my focus was there. And then Tony Soprano over here to my right is going to send in the goons to take me out, even though Doc and I are great friends.
I can't believe
he was
you.
a hired goon.
You know, the only thing that Reggie probably would have done differently is pick on Spud Webb rather than John Battle. He picks on John Battle is a small guard. I had to send some size in. I sent Doc in.
Look at a young Tony Soprano.
Look how
right
innocent
there.
looking he is. That's an altar boy.
Tony Montana. I mean, what's the deal? Come on. I mean, why didn't you send Kevin Willis, Moses Malone after me? Why don't you? You had everyone else hitting me coming off screens.
I didn't want to send Kevin there. He might have broken you in half, Kevin.
See, Reggie, I'm so surprised that he would do something like that.
I'm just out there playing my game, destroying John Battle. I mean, it's all in the heat of the game, and then you're going to send out one of your enforcers to take me out.
I sent Rocky out.
Here's Rondo. Popping it out. It's deflected. Stolen by Ginobili. Pierce is back. Ginobili behind the back. It's scored! What a move by Mono. Ginobili. Here the Celtics down the hurry, and Perkins gets the two back.
You like the mentality of not dwelling on the fact that Ginobili just split your defense and got an easy layup. You got it in, up, and scored right back on him again in less than 4 seconds.
Celtics up 43-34. Just under 2 to go in the half. And here comes Boston. Rondo quickly to the front court. Garnett. Yes. That jumper going for Kevin Garnett. 4 for 6. He has 8 points. Duncan backing his way. Ginobili gives it right back. Shot clock in 3, down to 2. Good defense here by the Celtics. And the air ball fielded by Garnett. Nice pitch out. 3-on-2. Perkins from Rondo. Beautifully done.
And that's a textbook fast break right there. You got the quick outlet from Kevin Garnett to Rondo. You've got a big running down the middle. And what does Rondo do? You feed the bigs that run.
Biggest lead of the night for the Celtics. Ginobili for 3. Mono Ginobili, who made his return Sunday night against the 76ers after missing 5 games due to that strained left groin, has looked sharp in the second quarter. 8-second differential here between the game clock and shot clock. Garnett again left open. Duncan rebounds and then hold for a final shot. Look out. Allen nearly picked it off. Parker to the reverse. Well, they do not hold up for the final shot. Ginobili saw the opportunity. Now we're final seconds of the half. Down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. Rondo, and that's the end of the first half. The Celtics with a 47-39 lead on the Spurs. So Boston shooting 46% from the field. Turnovers hurt the Spurs, as did poor free throw shooting, just 2 of 9 at the line. Let's go to David Aldridge with Ray Allen.
Ray, you guys seem to make concerted effort not only to get in the passing lanes, really be active defensively. A lot of turnovers in the first half. What were you doing out there?
Trying to force them back on their heels a little bit. They're a great cutting team at the basket, so the talk was huge out there on the floor, but getting a rebound finished off defensive play was important.
Spurs talked about you guys being a measuring stick for them coming into this game. Are they a measuring stick for you as well?
Both ways. You're talking about 2 premier teams in the NBA, and for the most part, we have identical players, so it's about who executes their plays on both ends of the floor.
Ray, thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right. When we get back, After commercial, we'll return to the Mobile Halftime Report with our Atlanta studios with Ernie and EJ and Kenny.
The last 5 points of the second quarter to cut a 13-point Celtic lead down to 8 at the break. Ray Allen with the finish there. It's 47-39. The Celtics with the lead at the AT&T Center. They have won 3 straight games in San Antonio. It's the T-Mobile Halftime Report. Ernie Johnson and Kenny the Jet Smith. Yeah, we're fully equipped here.
I'm telling you.
And this is really cool because Kenny's doing his pictures, and I get to be really like part of it by saying,
go.
These teams have championship pedigree. Is that what I was supposed to say?
Yeah, that was close. That's pretty good. What wins championships?
No, you're asking me that?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
What wins championships?
Defense and execution, and these two teams both have it. So on my Kenny pictures, the one thing that we want to see is how well these teams execute. They're not always fun to watch, but they're great at what they do. So, you know, here we have the San Antonio Spurs. There's ball movement, body movement. But look at the Celtics defense. They're all executing defensively. They have pressure on the ball. They're all aligned together. They're forming this great triangle, so you're not driving down the defense and you're not driving down the lane. And as the plays goes on, these slices through on great execution because Ginobili pushes the hand down. But then the Spurs said, we're not starting. How many teams in the league pick up their men full court anymore? You never see this anymore in the NBA. Only the good teams do it. So they pick up their man full court. They put pressure on the ball. There's everyone there. And then the last thing they say, we're going to create the same type of triangle that the Boston Celtics, and you're going to have great execution to get around this triangle, and then we still got help line defense in the back because this is a great defensive team. They move the ball, but the Celtics are a great offensive team. They get picked, they roll, they get help, and they still score. And then on the other end, Boston Celtics do the same thing. They say, we're back into our defense. So what? You scored last time. It's not happening again because if it happens again, we're still in the same motion. We have our triangle formed right here. We still have backline help defense. Ray Allen seeing man and ball at the same time. And then all of a sudden, it makes it difficult for you to score. You scored the last time. This time, we help on the cutters. We're bumping the cutters, and you're taking you into the tough shot. So that's championship basketball, and that's championship teams.
The czar of the telestrator, envious of that ability.
No, that's just great basketball. I just love watching great basketball.
That was outstanding. Nobody in double figures in the first half of this game. Garnett's got 8, Ray Allen's got 9, Perkins has 9, Parker has 9 to lead San Antonio. A lot of points coming in off the bench in the second quarter. They scored 24 points in the quarter, 19 of those off the San Antonio bench.
Boston at 46% from the field. San Antonio at 41. You can see the Spurs just 1 of 8 from downtown. 2 of 9 at the line, and they have turned it over 7 times. Boston with 9 points off those turnovers. Getting back to Duncan over the last 17 minutes, 0 for 5 from the field. Garnett opens up the second half with the jumper.
And again, it's all by the penetration of Rondo getting into the paint, sucking the defense to him. Wide open Garnett for the 17-footer.
San Antonio back to the starting lineup. Duncan with Jefferson and McDyess. Hogans and Parker at the guards. Here's Jefferson, who has not been a factor, just 2 of 5 from the field. He's been struggling with that shot. Rondo going Steve Nash on us, and then got trapped and is fouled by Parker. Let's go to David Aldridge. David.
Marvin, Greg Popovich was not all that upset with his team's defense in the first half. He said 47 points is okay with him. He can live with that. He wasn't really unhappy with the way his team played offensively in terms of shooting, but it was the turnovers that you all mentioned and the 2 of 9 from the foul line. That first stretch of 6-7 minutes in the first quarter, he said, was really the difference in the whole first half.
And San Antonio, 75% free throw shooting team during the course of the season. Perkins working hard and stopped by Duncan. Parker played by Rondo, and away from the ball we get a whistle. Dick Bavetta staring at Doc Rivers, who did not like the call. Foul on Garnett, that's his first.
Actually, Duncan did a good job of sealing Garnett. Garnett wound up picking up Duncan in transition, and Doc Rivers very unhappy with the fact that he felt Duncan was using his backside, his legs to hold Garnett from recovering his position. The official didn't feel the same way. That's where the foul was called.
Now you know how the official's feeling, huh? Okay, Dr. Phil.
And that pass goes astray. It's a very kind way of putting it. The official did not feel the same way.
Just didn't see eye to eye with Doc, that's all.
Doc Rivers, a one-time San Antonio Spur towards the end of his career. In fact, he concluded in San Antonio by broadcasting the games. He was the color analyst for 2 seasons on Spurs TV. Allen off a nice lead pass from Garnett.
And when you get Kevin Garnett on the post, and when he's knocking down shots like he was earlier, you know, a lot of attention is going to come his way. Good job there by Ray Allen with the cut, with the easy lay-in.
Duncan going glass and getting the roll. We've seen a couple of those here tonight.
It's amazing how far away from the basket he is when he continues to use glass. He has so much confidence in that shot.
Here's the lead pass. Garnett not able to handle it. Now recovers. Pierce is open for 3. Rebounded by McDyess. The Spurs at 9-6 on the season. They started out at 4 up, 6 down. They've lost 3 in a row. They've won their last 5. Good job by Perkins on Duncan. Here's Duncan slipping it over to McDyess, and he's stopped by Perkins. McDyess recovers. 1 on the shot clock. It's being waved off. Good job by the Celtics.
And this is why Kendrick Perkins is one of those emerging big men in this game. And then in this league, because of his defensive presence right there, moving his feet first against Tim Duncan, gets switched off onto Antonio McDyess, gets the block, 24-second shot clock violation.
And Kendrick Perkins, an excellent post defender, as Dwight Howard saw firsthand in the playoffs, did a good job against him. Allen for 3, rebounded by Jefferson. Pierce gets picked off. The lead from Jefferson. Nice pass. Duncan cannot finish. Here comes Rondo. Pierce. Duncan able to get to it. And it's taken by Rondo. Sets it up. Pierce rejected by Duncan. That's his second block. Parker trying to get it into the corner. He's claiming it was deflected, and the call has changed. They were about to give the ball to the Celtics.
No, I think they're going to call a foul on Rondo because they're saying he grabbed his arm when Parker got into the lane right there. And Parker was looking at the official, Mark Davis, saying, wait a minute, there's no way I'm going to throw it into the first row of the stands.
And the steal by Rondo. Rajon Rondo comes right back, takes all the way. And that leads to a timeout for Greg Popovich.
Sometimes Richard Jefferson just doesn't pay attention to detail. You can't be sloppy. You can't be haphazard against the Celtic defense. When you're inbounding the ball, you've got to make sure where you're throwing it, and you throw it with enough steam so your teammate comes up with it. Celtics up 53-41. Let's look at that side out of bounds play that San Antonio tried to run. Richard Jefferson is taking it out. There's Tony Parker on the inside. And if Jefferson looks and Parker communicates with his eyes, he could actually throw the ball from out of bounds right over the top for an easy layup because nobody's watching. Instead, what he assumes is that on the pass, Parker is going to come up the middle off of his big man, but the defensive player shoots the gap. That happens to be Rondo. It's a lazy pass by Jefferson. Rondo has those long arms, shoots the gap, anticipates, comes up with the steal. Next thing you know, he's off laying it up and in.
And that turnover number 4 by San Antonio within 3 minutes and 20 seconds of this third quarter. It's a 12-point Boston lead.
This is just how the Spurs started that first quarter. Very sloppy, lazy, and another turnover for the Spurs. They're 12th.
And that's 6 committed by Duncan. Garnett gets it down low. Pierce with room for 3. Celtics get back. Here's Parker. Oh, beautifully done. Tony Parker switching hands on the dribble and then able to put it home on a reverse.
You know, when you look at the box score, Marv, you mentioned before that Jefferson will struggle a little bit, but the other guy is struggling. You're getting no productivity out of two starters. That's Keith Bogans. You have Bogans out there not contributing anything, and Richard Jefferson struggling, so they need more productivity for that starting unit.
Good play by McDyess. He stripped Perkins. Perkins able to retrieve. Allen on the pull-up. 13 points for Ray Allen.
And you got to give Kendrick Perkins all the credit on that. He stayed with that play, got the ball stripped twice, found a wide open Ray Allen who knocked down the shot.
Ray coming off the season high 27 the other night in Charlotte. Bogans cannot finish.
And coach, in Bogan's defense, he's not out there to score. He's out there to play defense, and that's why Popovich is going to stay with him, because he's their Bruce Bowen type, a guy that's out there that doesn't need the basketball or a lot of plays called for him.
The only difference, and we talked about it earlier, that Greg Popovich sees Bogan as a defensive geared player, maybe a little more physical than Bowen, but Bowen developed that three-point shot from each corner.
Yeah, Popovich realizes that he needs to sit Bogans down right now and bring Ginobili back in if they're going to have a chance. They need another scorer out there against the Celtic defense. That's what's happening.
When Ginobili came on in the second quarter, that's when the Spurs made a nice move. Pretty fast. Parker finding Duncan.
Well, you got to remember, when Bruce Bowen was getting a lot of those corner threes, the reason was because of Tony Parker's penetration, which he's not getting tonight, and they were doubling Tim Duncan. Teams don't have to double Tim Duncan anymore, so those corner threes aren't there.
Nice battling with Garnett. Shot clock to 5 and a foul. That counts. He gets the call on the continuation, and he'll head to the line.
And that's the excitement that's been missing for the Boston Celtics the second half of the season last year when Kevin Garnett was down. You talk about a low post presence right here, just backing down McDyess. You hear the whistle, you put the ball up, and you give yourself a shot.
McDyess with the foul, his second. Garnett at the line for the first time.
Tell me a team that moves the basketball better than the Celtics do.
Well, you would think it would be the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich's offense, but you know, as you guys mentioned earlier, this is a team with a lot of new faces. You've got 3 new starters in this very intricate offense, and it's taken some time, even though they are on a current 5-game winning streak.
Here is Duncan. Gonna drill it. 12 points for Duncan, 11-point Celtic lead.
What I see in Boston is the trust that's developed over the last couple of seasons, that they get a guy a good shot. You see the drop-off pass there by Rondo, who lays it up and in over Parker. They have developed the trust that you get a guy a good shot, they look for a better shot, and they'll make that 1 or 2 extra passes to get that next shot.
Boston, a team that went 62-20 in the regular season a year ago, first in the Atlantic. Ginobili lost it, and then in the playoffs in that wild first-round series against the Bulls, they won in 7, a series that included 7 overtime periods, 4 overtime games, and in the conference semis they lost to Orlando in 7. And it's a Boston team playing without Glenn Big Baby Davis, who was so vital in the playoffs last season. Good job by Jefferson on Pierce. Shot clock is down to 3. Allen gets it away on a quick release. Big Baby Davis suffered that broken right thumb, the result of a fight with an alleged close friend. The cast was taken off, but we're told it's back on, so he is not ready to work out. Nice move by Duncan. Celtics were hoping that Big Baby will be cleared for workouts in the next several days, but the cast is back on the thumb.
Well, I don't know if it's Big Baby that would make the difference, but if there's a glaring weakness to this 14-4 Celtic team, you see the foul take place by McDyess there. The thing that jumps out at you statistically, this is not a good rebounding Celtic team. They're 29th in the league in total rebounds. They're last in the league in offensive rebounds, second chance points. They're 29th in the league. The offensive rebound margin, they're in the minus side of it, so maybe when Big Baby comes back, that helps them with their rebounding.
Foul on McDyess, his 3rd. Let's check in with David Aldridge.
As you guys mentioned about Glenn Davis coming back, Doc Rivers said before the game that he thinks that Glenn is in very, very good shape despite having not played after the injury. And he said that's very important for this team, especially for Big Baby to keep the respect of his teammates. When he comes back and plays, he's got to be ready to play and not be out of shape. Marv?
All right, David, DeJuan Blair has checked back in for the Spurs. Rookie out of, oh, look out, fouled Garnett. That sent Ginobili to the floor. Garnett coming over and just check if Mano's all right.
Well, here's the collision with Kevin Garnett and Manu Ginobili, who was going after the loose ball, and Kevin Garnett thought he could get there faster than Ginobili. Comes up with the foul.
Been an interesting several weeks for Manu. He had a series of rabies vaccinations after swatting away a bat out of the air in a game against Sacramento. Recently learned that his wife was pregnant with twins. Been action-packed for Manu Ginobili, and he's been sitting out with that injury. Duncan again gets inside. It's been all Tim Duncan at the offensive end for the Spurs, who are now down by 11.
I think it's a testament to the Celtic defense. You see the lob, Garnett going backdoor on Duncan. This is one of those nights Doc Rivers said you throw it up by the rim, he can go get it on certain nights. Other nights, maybe not as well.
Well, I would say those other nights would probably be the second of a back-to-back nights where he probably couldn't go get it, but his team coming in with a day off after that big win in Charlotte on Monday.
Duncan with 10 of San Antonio's 12 points here in the third. Michael Finley is back on the floor. Duncan keeping it alive. Here's Ginobili open for 3. Ten-point lead for the Celtics. Manu Ginobili has played well. Sparked the team in the second quarter. Traveling violation called on Paul Pierce.
Well, second shot opportunities is what's keeping the Spurs in this game. Right here, Ginobili wide open behind the three-point arc. 9 offensive rebounds already for the Spurs in this ball game.
Ginobili with 10 points. So San Antonio back in possession. Just under 3.5 remaining in the third quarter. Marv Albert with Reggie Miller, the czar Mike Fratello, David Aldridge working the sideline. George Hill has checked in, so Hill and Ginobili in the backcourt. Here's Ginobili again from downtown. Rondo with a nice pass from Marquise Daniels, who just came back in.
You wondered where he was going with the ball with the wave of green jerseys.
Another San Antonio turnover. Rondo finding Allen for 3.
It's one of those backbreaker three-point shots right there.
San Antonio with 7 turnovers in this third quarter. Nice give and go. Hill is fouled by Garnett. So George Hill is headed to the line. Celtics up by 12 as this third quarter winds down.
Tim Duncan, face up, put it on the floor, and the drive.
And then here, the eye contact from his point guard from Rondo with the finished throwdown.
What do you got to do? Forget it and play from here. There's still a lot of game left, and you're making it easy for them. You 3 guys got to pick it up in the sense of being harder drives, protecting the ball better, going up stronger, making a better pass, setting up better, all the fundamental stuff.
And when he's talking about making it easy, 14 turnovers resulting in 15 points for the Celtics, and he's talking about his 3 main stars, and Richard Jefferson, Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan and Tony Parker offensively are getting it done. Really who's struggling is Richard Jefferson. In 23 minutes, 2 of 5, only 4 points. And these guys, as you see them on the bench right now for Popovich, have to get that wide open transition game going, easy baskets. Tim Duncan is going to do it in the half-court situation, but you need guys in the open court to be able to finish.
George Hill knocks down both. Celtics trying to make it 4 straight wins over the Spurs here in San Antonio. The last time that a team took 4 in a row here in the Alamo City, Washington did it, 1996 through 99. Garnett, again, the nice ball movement. Garnett not able to hit. Here comes Hill with Rondo back. Rondo got a piece of it. Hill a little out of control, went right at Rondo, but last touched by the Celtics, and a foul has been called. Eddie Adams with the call over at the far side on Marquise Daniels. Doc Rivers disagreeing.
I want to know where the foul was, because Rondo got a hand on the ball which caused it to come out of George Hill's hand. So at that point in time, it should be a free ball for anyone.
Puts the Celtics over the limit. So Hill back at the line. A programming reminder, TNT Monday, the Closers all new episodes are not over yet. The 3-week closer event begins Monday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, only on TNT.
Greg, I have to agree with you, because it was Rondo who was back that stuck his arm out and deflected the ball, and then it went out of bounds, but I don't know where the foul would come on Daniels.
John Rondo handling, he has 10 assists, 8 points, as we come up on 2 minutes to play in the third. Here's Rondo putting the speed on. Here's that circle move for the reverse, way off, rebounded by Finley. Finley with the reverse. He went right at Rasheed Wallace. So the Spurs are within 6 by virtue of a 13-4 run. The lob for Garnett. It counts. And the foul.
The movement without the basketball. Garnett came like one step as if he was going to set a screen, then back cut and went to the rim. There you see him take the step. They just lay the ball out in front of the rim, and he's going after it tonight and finishing.
Foul is committed by Finley, so Garnett to the line looking for point number 18.
That was vintage KG right there. Just point to the rim and throw it there, and I'll go finish. I'm taller, more talented, more athletic than anyone on the floor right now. Let me finish.
Celtics have Garnett, Wallace as the 2 big men, along with Daniels, Allen, and Rondo. And Garnett with 10 of his 18 here in the third.
So a dangerous time for San Antonio from the standpoint they are resting Tim Duncan right now. Celtics still have Garnett out on the floor. So can they score enough points right now? We see a nice interior pass and the reverse layup that time by Blair.
Good adjustment by the rookie Blair, who's hit on all 4 of his attempts. A series of fakes by Wallace going at Bonner and scores.
And the advantage here is for the Celtics right now, because you've got Bonner as well as Blair, 2 guys that are much smaller than Wallace and KG for the Celtics.
Here's Ginobili. Rebounded by Blair. Garnett turned him back. Ginobili stripped. Blair with the save. And Hill called for steps. He was looking for 3-point territory, and he backed up. So the call of traveling gives the ball back to Boston.
There's a great example of length versus a guy that's just a little bit too short. Blair could not find a way of getting the ball up over the arms of Garnett. The length affects him. He comes up with the ball, but there you see him change his shot right there because of Kevin Garnett being around him. But again, Garnett from behind affects Ginobili as well.
Brian Scalabrine and Eddie House have checked in for the Celtics. Final minute, third quarter, Boston with the ball and a 9-point lead. Shot clock down to 7, and the ball back to San Antonio.
Well, very much like the second quarter in the first half, when the reserves came in and really gave these Spurs an energized boost. They're doing the same thing here in this third quarter when the starters were struggling.
It's a 5-second differential between the game clock and shot clock as George Hill works it down against Eddie House. Ginobili. And the foul is called on Allen. Boston over the limit. Ginobili will go to the line. So 2 shots coming up for Manu Ginobili, who's back from that strained left groin. This is 2nd game back. And And the free throw shooting problems continue. The Spurs are now 6 of 14 at the line. You can get enhanced coverage of the game on TNT Overtime Extra, presented by Marines on NBA.com. Richard Jefferson, Keith Bogans have returned. 11 seconds left in the quarter. Ginobili knocks down one of two. 8-point Celtic lead. Down to 3, down to 2. Wallace set up by Rondo. Yes, at the buzzer, that will count. It's a three-pointer for Rasheed Wallace off another assist by Rajon Rondo, number 12 for Rondo.
And this is the luxury you have when you have a big guy who can pick and pop and knock down the three.
Turnovers have been a problem all night long. It looked like you guys got that under control a little bit more in the third quarter, but then a little leakage at the end.
Well, we really didn't. We started out with 4 turnovers to start the third quarter, and then a lot of bonehead plays, just like you just see here, where we're supposed to switch everything, and we don't do it. So we're definitely not on the same page defensively.
Is that they're forcing it, or is that you all just not reacting?
It's a little bit of both. You know, we're still trying to figure out. Got a lot of guys trying to figure out how they're going to play in this system, and Boston's a hell of a team, so a little bit of both.
Another beautiful move by Juwan Blair. Greg Popovich in his 14th season as head coach of the Spurs. He's taken the team to 4 NBA championships. Fourth quarter getting underway, and the Spurs are trailing the Celtics by 9. Looks like Hill was shaken up. And the foul is charged to Allen. That's his third.
Yeah, it looked like in the collision, he got hit. And he already had a few stitches in that nose before. I don't know if the stitches opened up on this collision right here on the offensive foul. But just an inadvertent elbow by Ray Allen clocked him right on the nose, and maybe the nose is bleeding and so forth.
If you remember before the game and talking with Greg Popovich, he had kind of alluded to the fact that I'm not sure down the road if this is going to be my starting unit. And when you look at the stat sheet, you see that Boston starters have outscored San Antonio starters 57-31. Pop mentioned I've got to decide what the best combination is to start and the best combination coming off the bench.
Well, he's going to have to find more time for this rookie, Juwan Blair. He's played fantastic. And in fact, you know, Pop even mentioned he's wrestling with the idea because he doesn't want to tax Antonio McDyess in the starting lineup with so many minutes the later as the season goes on. So he's going to find more time for Blair.
Tony Parker has come on for George Hill. Athletic trainer Will Seveny is checking out Hill. Off the weave, Jefferson challenges Wallace. Batted by Bonner, kept alive by Blair. Roger Mason, Tony Parker in the backcourt, Blair, Jefferson, and Bonner on the front line as Duncan continues to rest, and it's an offensive foul. It is on Blair. That is his first.
Well, in this fourth quarter, he just made an aggressive move to the hole in Richard Jefferson. I want to see him try to establish himself offensively for this team.
Attempted only 6 shots, 2 of 6, only 3 of 9. The other night, Spurs last game against the 76ers. Wallace feeling for Blair, and it's punched out of his hands by Blair. Good timing. Rasheed Wallace, who has about 5 inches on the rookie, was trying to take him down low.
And Blair's not going to let him get it up high over his head. He strips him before he gets it up past his chest.
2 on the shot clock. Daniels will inbound. Scalabrine gets it off and hits. Brian Scalabrine with 1 on the 24, and the Celtics lead 76-65. Boston has led most of the way, trying to make it 4 straight against the Spurs here in San Antonio. Jefferson is rejected by Wallace. Here's Bonner. Well, the Red Rocket forcing the issue, getting inside.
I'm going to go with the Red Rocket. I like it, Marvelous.
It's a nickname he is taken with him from Toronto. Wallace again. He hit one at the buzzer at the end of the third quarter. Rasheed Wallace able to knock it down from downtown. He has 13 points.
Coach, do you think DeJuan Blair has seen any film on Rasheed Wallace or read the scouting report?
Well, maybe he read his field goal percentage from the three-point line. It's 28% coming into this game.
Parker. Tony Parker. Line drives it. Celtics lead at 79-69.
Well, Doc will take this if you want to exchange baskets, especially in the fourth quarter.
Battle between Jefferson and Pierce. That's the second foul on Richard Jefferson. Jefferson averaging just under 14 a game, which is a big drop-off. 19 points a game last season with Milwaukee. 22 a couple of years back with the Nets, but as you guys have been mentioning, it is a different system for Richard Jefferson.
Yeah, it's not only the system, Marv, it's him trying to fit in and be one of the guys. Remember, he goes from being either, you see the turnaround jump shot by Daniels, either in Milwaukee a year ago, first or second option in Milwaukee, to here, he's the fourth option for them. You have Duncan, you have Parker, you have Ginobili, and then it's Jefferson. So when do you take your shots? He's thinking about picking and choosing too much.
Plus, when you talk about the Bucks of a year ago or the Nets from 2 years ago, those were not good teams, and he was the focal point of the offense. Timeout is taken. 3 minutes into the fourth. As a free agent from Detroit, he's been a major factor for the Celtics here tonight off the bench. Tim Duncan has been resting, but he and Tim know each other very well from back in their college days. Wake Forest, Tim Duncan, North Carolina's Rasheed Wallace, battling it out over 2 seasons in the ACC during the 1990s. Although the two only played against each other for 2 years, they did meet 6 times. The Deacons of Wake Forest won 3 of those games, while the Tar Heels also won 3. And both have been outstanding professionals. It's been a good rest period here for Duncan. Greg Popovich looking for Duncan down the stretch. Oh, Bonner with the steal on the inbounds, taken back by House. Celtics with an 81-69 lead. They've led virtually all the way. They've led by as many as 15. Here's a backdoor pass intended for Pierce, but a foul. It is on Jefferson.
They set that play up off the timeout, banking it all on the pressure of Jefferson. Denied. Backdoor was set up on the pump fake pass. Almost got him.
And Jefferson, he's not used to playing this type of defense. We talked all about the offensive struggles he's had, but defensively, he's never had to check guys like this, you know, really the 3 position this intensely.
Mason moves it across for the Spurs. Blair on oh, what a fake on Wallace. But he came up short. And the officials checking with each other. It will be San Antonio ball.
I'm going to tell you this. If I'm DeJuan Blair, during this summer, I get a hold of Sir Charles Barkley. And I go as very much the same way Hakeem has his big man camp. I call Charles Barkley up and say, will you please work me out and show me some of the tricks for a guy my size? What can I do to be a successful rebounder, which he already is, but a low post player at the offensive end?
There's a shot by Parker. He's hit his last 2. It's a 10-point Boston lead.
Now, whether he gets a call back from Charles, that's another thing.
Wallace, once again from downtown, kept alive momentarily by Scalabrine. Are you saying Charles does not return your calls?
Sometimes, you know, it's better to text him.
Parker to the pull-up. Good job by Matt Bonner. Jefferson, nice pass. Parker hits off the assist from Jefferson.
A little ball movement, start to reverse it, a little cutting along the baseline, the easy bucket for San Antonio.
The Boston lead is down to 8. Wallace with room. Came up short on a three-point attempt.
And now he's back to 7. You've got Blair on you. Take him down to the post and punish him.
Blair from Mason. Doc Rivers wants to talk it over. A 6-0 run for the Spurs. And it's a 6-point Boston lead.
Juwan Blair has a special feel. He knows how to get it up. He knows when to release it. Major factor tonight.
All right, 7 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. And the Spurs are within 6. And you look at some of the numbers. San Antonio, 7 of 15 at the free throw line. They've turned it over 18 times. Only 2 of 10 from downtown. But the reason they're within 6, they've out-rebounded the Celtics 43 to 26. Here's Allen getting inside. And a foul is called as Blair gets to the rebound. He takes the hit from Allen, and for Ray Allen, that's number 4.
Tell me how many coaches would be down 6 points, have a guy in Tim Duncan who has 16 points and 12 rebounds with 7 minutes to go in the game and come out of the timeout and not put him back in the game, go with this group that's gotten him back close again. Greg Popovich did it.
Staying with the rookie Juwan Blair along with Matt Potter. Here's Parker. Potter once again a back tap. He's done a good job off the boards. He's not shot the ball well tonight, but he's kept it alive on the offensive end. Here's Mason.
That was 16 offensive rebounds for the Spurs. They are a plus 14 in that category. You talked about them rebounding, which is keeping them in the ball game.
Oh, Rondo with a beautiful move. Rajon Rondo with the ball fake. And he's given the Celtics an 83-75 lead. And now Tim Duncan over to the scorer's table. He will check in just a moment. 6 minutes to play here in the fourth. Blair from Mason. He is so sure-handed. Converts again. He's 7 of 9 from the field. 14 points, 8 rebounds.
Well, we talked about possibly Popovich starting him with Tim Duncan. My only question with that is, who's going to stretch the floor? You need another big to stretch the floor if you're going with Tim Duncan, as KG is just backing Bonner down underneath the basket with the turnaround.
20 points for Garnett. 85-77 Celtics. We come up on 5 to play here in the fourth. Parker putting moves on Rondo. Rejected by Perkins. Allen could not bank it home. We have not had a dead ball, so Duncan spending lots of time over the scorer's table. Blair with a series of moves and scores! Juwan Blair, the second-round draft pick out of Pitt, has had himself a terrific game.
I thought that size would distract him, but you got Kevin Garnett, who's one of the bigger bigs in this league, couldn't distract him on that shot.
Here's Garnett. Perkins had it slapped away, the save by Parker.
Well, as you mentioned, with no stoppage in play, if you want Duncan in, you may be forced to take a timeout.
Parker. Dangerous pass, got it to Jefferson. Jefferson wheels in. And a foul.
Well, that's the other way to stop the clock, is take a foul.
So now Duncan is able to check in. Foul is on Blair. That's his second.
Take a look at Blair and the confidence his teammates have in him. He finds the open spot, gets it up quickly before the shot blocker can get a piece of it. And you see again, this time, fake, move the ball around the arm of Kevin Garnett and use the glass.
Tim Duncan was taken out with about 2 minutes, 15 seconds left in the third quarter, and this is the first time that we have seen him since. Here's the lob. It backfires. Garnett could not handle it. It was thrown off the mark, so San Antonio gets it back, down by 6. With just under 4 to play here in the fourth.
From Boston's standpoint, they need to stop right now, because if San Antonio scores, the crowd is even more into the game, and it gives the Spurs belief that they're going to come back and get this one.
Duncan moving on Perkins. Ball knocked away to foul. A reach-in is called. Only the second team foul. San Antonio has 3, so Jefferson will put it in play.
And I know Tim Duncan just checked in, and he's fresher than everyone else, but you just don't go to him right away. You might as well at least ride the back of the rookie Juwan Blair until Duncan can get up the floor a couple times so he can get those legs warm. Well, Doc Rivers said when Kevin Garnett is pointing to the rim, asking Rondo to throw him the rim, he knows his legs are back up underneath him. The nice little alley-oop foul and one. It's all about the eye contact, and it's with Kevin Garnett with the finish.
For more Marines teamwork play of the game, log on to NBA.com. A major factor for the Spurs in this comeback, 0 turnovers down the stretch in this fourth quarter. Here's Mason for 3. Duncan back taps.
17 offensive rebounds for the Spurs.
All right, Duncan and a foul. Garnett reaching in. So that'll put Duncan at the line. That's 4 on Garnett. Duncan at the line for the first time tonight, and he's been shooting at 75% at the line. That's the best he has shot at the line in about 8 years. Last year at 69%. National coverage of the NBA continues tomorrow on ESPN. It's the Bulls and the Cavs, followed by the Heat and the Lakers. And then Monday on NBA TV, Nuggets and Sixers, as Allen Iverson makes his return to Philadelphia. And NBA TV's Fan Night, go to NBA.com, NBA TV, and you can vote now for the game that you want to watch this Tuesday. The voting ends at midnight Eastern Time tonight. They'll jump it up. 3:17 left in this fourth quarter. The Celtics up by 6 as Duncan misses on both. Coming up, the second of our doubleheader, Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets. Kevin Harlan, Doug Collins will have it for you. So Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. That'll be in the second of our twin bill. Miami coming off a win at Portland. Denver's last game Tuesday night as they walloped Golden State by 28 points. The Nuggets are now 13-5.
You know what I love? Down 6 points. Greg Popovich comes out of the timeout and draws up a play from the side out specifically for Roger Mason to shoot a three-pointer. He wanted to cut it in half right there.
Roger Mason hitting a number of big shots last season. He had 4 game-winning shots. They'll do it again. Dick Pavetta says, let's throw it up one more time. Bad toss.
Well, he wasn't saying bad toss. Official Mark Davis says that Tony Parker has the right to try to be between Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, so he can form a wall, a wedge, so Kendrick Perkins has a place to tip the ball to.
And you're looking for 2 green jerseys together. That's what Perkins is looking for.
Wrapped into the backcourt. Mason runs it down. Coming up on 3 minutes to play here in the fourth. Blair comes out to set the pick. Shot clock down to 7. Jefferson for 3. Rebound, Duncan. Juwan Blair. San Antonio on a 12-4 run. Blair has scored the last 8 points for the Spurs, who are within 4. And they're on their feet here in San Antonio. Allen Rebounded by Blair, able to get it to Mason.
Blair tried to grab it again with one hand. He better use two.
Mason for three. And Rondo comes up with the ball.
I know what most people are thinking. Why is Roger Mason taking such quick threes? That's his game. He's hitting huge shots for the Spurs team last year.
Here's Rondo. Rajon Rondo with 12 points. And Greg Popovich calls for time as the Celtics now lead at 87-81.
Boston moving their screens lower. San Antonio goes under. Rondo shooting a free throw.
Draft, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony. Melo was number 3, Wade was number 5. Their teams are going to meet moments from now here on TNT, Miami and Denver. They'll tip in about 10 minutes. Let's get back to San Antonio, guys.
All right, Ernie, you see the timeouts remaining. Boston with a full 2:20s. San Antonio 2:20 second timeouts.
You know, we mentioned how Jefferson hasn't done very much, just 2 of 10 tonight. But on the other side, Pierce has been very quiet for Boston, 2 of 9 right now. And that's their go-to guy at the end of the game for the Celtics. It's Paul Pierce.
And Pierce coming off a 3 of 8 the other night against the Bobcats. Just under 2 minutes to play in this fourth quarter. Spurs had it within 4. It's now 6-point Celtic lead, and that's a blocking foul on Pierce. It is a non-shooting foul, team foul number 4 on the Celtics.
Coach, are you a little surprised that Ginobili is not on the floor right now for the Spurs? You still have Roger Mason and a struggling Richard Jefferson?
Yeah, because Ginobili is a guy that can break it down, put the ball on the floor, and create for other people as well as himself.
Parker finding Mason. And the ball slapped away. Rondo got a piece of it. Just 5 remaining on the shot clock.
Rondo playing center field. He's just rolling off of Tony Parker, daring him to take jump shots.
Down to 2. Duncan. Duncan played very tight.
Yeah, he caught the ball about 3 seconds remaining on the 24-second clock, so Tim had to get it up. He just got it on the rim, hoped that it either went in or they got a big bounce for a second shot opportunity.
Celtics in no hurry. Shot clock down to 8. Good fake by Garnett. Perkins. Rebound Duncan. Mason wanted to shoot for 3. Coming up on a minute to play and a 6-point Boston lead. And they need a shot in a hurry. Here's Jefferson. Yes! Richard Jefferson, that's a 2-pointer. Brings it back to a 4-point Boston lead.
Yeah, plenty of time here. Let your defense do the talking for it right here, especially with the ball in Paul Pierce's hand. Look for a high pick and roll, one-on-one situation. Paul Pierce versus Richard Jefferson.
San Antonio has a foul to give. Shot clock to 5. Garnett. Perkins has it slapped away, stripped by Blair. Parker hustles it down. Parker goes all the way. What a play by Rondo. Slapped it away, last touch by Parker.
You've got to know by now that when you try to go past Rondo, he's going to reach in and try to strip you. Here's the split attempt. He brings it up, down, and on the way back up again, there's the clean strip off his leg.
The 2-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. And San Antonio does have a foul to give. That's the foul to give. We're down to 18.3 to go in this fourth quarter. The Celtics up by 4. And the Celtics will put it in play at side court.
And if I'm Doc Rivers, I'm thinking about calling a timeout and trying to inserting Eddie House for Rondo. Rondo only shooting 40% on the year from the free throw line.
Back in San Antonio, you see timeouts remaining. Next foul would put both clubs over the limit. Celtics in possession, and they have a 4-point lead.
A little mistake by San Antonio when Boston took it inbounds. There were a little over 25 seconds remaining, 24 seconds on the obviously on the shot clock. San Antonio didn't foul right away, and then when they started to go try and foul, they lost about 7 seconds because Boston moved the ball quicker than they could catch up to and eventually foul someone.
Eddie House has come on. Here's Pierce. He'll try to foul him, and he does. They wanted the ball in the hands of Paul Pierce. 2 for 2 at the line, at 85% on the season. So the Celtics looking to go 15-4, which would tie them with Orlando, best record in the East. They would make it 4 straight over the Spurs here in San Antonio. And the Spurs will drop to 9-7.
It also improves them to 8-1 on the road as well. That's one thing that Doc Rivers really likes to put a hammer on his teams, making sure they are good on the road as well, going into other places, other people's buildings, and winning tough road games.
And for San Antonio, it would end the 5-game win streak. Boston will make it 6 straight tomorrow night. They wind up the road trip in Oklahoma City. Thunder beating Philadelphia last night. Blair with the rebound and takes a timeout. What a game for DeJuan Blair. A career night. 18 points for Blair. We'll be right back. All right, down to 15 seconds remaining here in the fourth. San Antonio in possession in their front court, and they are down by 5.
Yeah, it's 2 possession games, so it doesn't really matter whether you get the 3 first and the 2 second, or the 2 first and the 3 second. You've got to get a good shot, and it's got to go up quickly. You go into your press. You're going to have to foul if you don't get a steal, and then hope that they miss some free throws.
Spurs do have a 20-second timeout. They have 1 left. Ginobili back on the floor. And Finley, he stepped out of bounds. That will not count. He stepped out and backing up into 3-point territory.
Well executed play by Popovich out of that timeout. Had Finley wide open, but understanding he was 1 foot on the baseline.
19th turnover, tying a season high for San Antonio. And the Celtics take a timeout. Rondo could not find anyone. So with 12.9 remaining in the fourth, Boston calls for time, so they are down to a 20-second timeout. I'd like to thank our producer, Scooter Bertino, the director, Renato Lowe, and our statistician, Brian Taylor. As the Celtics talk things over, here's another look at that last setup for Finley.
Ginobili drives, and Finley, who back of his foot, the official saying, was out of bounds there before he wound up shooting it. It was a great play designed by the coach. Great execution that time by the team. And unfortunately, you don't know where your feet are.
Yeah, but if you're Michael Finley, you've got to understand that you're going to get the basketball in this situation. And you see his right foot is right on that sideline right there. And that's a good call by official Benny Adams. You got to make sure both of your feet are in play when this play is drawn up.
All right, now Rondo in the front court gets it into House, and he is immediately hit. Parker taking a swipe, and the foul is called. So House on the floor because he is a very good free throw shooter. This season, 10 of 11 at the line. Eddie House, a guy who provides instant offense. His 3rd year with the Celtics. Last year, 43% from downtown. What has killed San Antonio tonight? 10 missed free throws, 19 turnovers, even though they decisively won the battle off the boards. This is a team that usually shoots 75% at the line.
And also, Marv, 2 of 14 from long distance. This is a team that definitely relies on their 3-point shooting. Really struggled tonight.
House knocks down both. And that'll wrap it. Final seconds. Jefferson unloads for 3. Here's Bonner. Jefferson again for 3. And that will do it. It's a 90-83 victory for the Celtics here in San Antonio. Boston goes to 15-4, and they have won 6 straight. San Antonio now 9-7, and the win streak is stopped at 5. Coming up next, following a quick break, Kevin Harlan, Doug Collins will have the Heat and the Nuggets from Denver. So for David Aldridge, Reggie Miller, the Czar, Mike Fratello, I'm Marv Albert saying good night from San Antonio, Texas.
Celtics with a big win on the road. They have won 6 straight. They are 3-0 on this road trip as they defeat the San Antonio Spurs in the Ace Ticket Studio down here on Causeway. I'm Gary Tangway along with Tommy Heinsohn. And there was a time when the Celtics couldn't win anything in San Antonio. Now they won 4 straight in San Antonio against the Spurs. Well, they certainly tested our patience tonight, Tommy, but in the end, the Celtics got the win.
How many fingernails you got left?
Coach Heinsohn was out tonight. That's all I want to tell you. Coach Heinsohn was out tonight. Some profanity? Perhaps. But anyways, we'll move on.
No, actually, the first half was just terrific basketball by the Celtics. Aggressive. The defense was near perfect. And then the second half, they lost their aggressiveness. And San Antonio just kept driving to the basket, and they were the more aggressive team. And the Celtics started settling for threes, and if they didn't go in, long rebounds, they ended up getting opportunities to once again go to the basket. So they won this game, and they pulled it out at the end, but I was saying my prayers.
Yes, you were. Let me put it this way. Here in the Ace Ticket Studio, we have our studio right here. Then, of course, we have the lobby out front in which you can come and purchase your tickets. For Celtics games, Tommy was doing a lot of pacing. In this game. What did you learn about the Spurs tonight?
The Spurs are over the hill. That's what I saw. I mean, they've got Duncan and little else to carry them. They got a fantastic game from their young player, Blair. And he's the one that kept them in the game, giving them extra opportunities off the board and also some inside baskets. But Ginobili, who they count on to score, and Jefferson, who they count on to score, are not really giving them the big games.
All right. What about the Celtics so far on this road trip? 3-0. What do we know about them now, Tommy?
Well, the Celtics, I said it before a couple of times, they appear to be very, very focused on winning and getting the job done. And they absolutely did it tonight in that first half, set the tone for the game, but they almost let it get away.
All right, let's take a look at the fourth quarter. And this was the part of the game where the Spurs pulled to within 4, Tommy, and the Celtics would hold them off. We'll take a look at these highlights. Rondo with a terrific night has the ball fake here, and it's going to be 83-75. Nice little dish by Rondo, and that's just his patented move. Now we're going to see DeJuan Blair, the rookie out of Pittsburgh. Why was he so tough to deal with?
Well, they weren't paying attention to him. Look, nobody went down there. They were worried about the penetration, and the kid's got good hands and good instincts, and he knows how to use his body. So he's a young player, and nobody paid attention to him. He took advantage.
KG right there made it 85-77. Kendrick Perkins has been one of the best defenders in the game in the NBA so far this season. Here's a Perk block, and Perk has just been outstanding. And then we see Blair again here as it's 85-79. They started to pay attention to him now, Tommy. This kid's got some guts, huh?
Well, I'm sure when the scouting report is written up about what he did to the Celtics, they will take his game away from him. I don't think he's a two-dimensional player. I think he's a one-dimensional player, hangs around the basket, and if you don't locate him and stay with him, he will burn you.
All right, Rajon Rondo had a terrific game tonight. Another double-double for the Celtic point guard. He always gets up for playing the great ones. I mean, Tony Parker had 17 points tonight, but Rajon ran that offense. He had 12 points. He had 12 rebounds, Tommy. Let's take a look at the highlights here. Latter half of the fourth quarter, and Rondo, when he made that jumper, made it 87-81. No nerves. No problem for Rondo.
Well, Rondo is really a big part of the success of this team. There's no question about it. But he is now starting to provide leadership. And that's something that, you know, they've been looking forward for him acquiring. And he's got it now, and he's showing his way. But
right. Obviously, we're showing some highlights of DeJuan Blair right there. Yeah. But as Tommy said, I mean, this kid, they will know about him next time as the rookie from Pittsburgh had 18 points. But the Celtics, they were able to come back in that fourth quarter, Tommy, and you were saying.
Well, they finally started working the ball and trying to go to the basket. Rondo actually, I think, won the game. Got a layup, helped stem the momentum, and then took that jumper from the free throw line when they backed up. This is a big shot right here. And you all of a sudden, if you're a coach, you go, no, Rondo. Great shot.
Great shot, kid. Great shot. Richard Jefferson here made it 87-83 as the Spurs were trying to come back in this one. As you mentioned, Jefferson is the guy that's going to have to score a lot for them. Don't know if he's going to have enough. Great defensive play by Rondo right here.
Oh, Rondo can play this guy. He cannot outquick Rondo. In fact, Rondo can outquick him, it appears now. And he's got the savvy to play him, and he gets in front of him, and he doesn't let him get where he wants to. And right here, they blew the opportunity as Finley, when he received the ball, had a foot out of bounds.
Spurs certainly had their opportunities to get back in this game, but one thing we haven't seen with San Antonio in the past is they lost their composure. I mean, that play we saw at the end, that's not a typical Spurs play.
Well, you know, they had Bruce Bowen, and they had some real experienced players. Finley is an aged player, and Ginobili is such a key guy for their history of what they did, along with Duncan, and he was not able to give it to him. And Parker was semi-neutralized by Rondo.
Again, for the Spurs, it was Blair had 18, Parker had 17, and then Duncan had 16 points and 15 rebounds. Tommy, you mentioned that they're over the hill. Is Tim Duncan over the hill?
No, he's got some mileage left in him, but you got to surround him like you always had to with some good players. And they've got really not the makings of a championship team, in my opinion. They've got old guys, and they're young guys because they've been very, very successful, aren't the upper echelon young guys.
All right, Celtics with the win tonight. They get their 15th victory of the season, 15-4. They are tied with Orlando for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. All right, now let's get back to San Antonio right now as Greg Dickerson is standing by with Ray Allen, who had 15 tonight.
All right, Gary, thanks so much. Ray, this is now back-to-back games here on the road in which you guys have started out very well. What was key tonight early?
We got off to a great start. We just did everything we wanted to do. Obviously, they're going to go on the run. They're a great team. We stuck together, and we pulled it out.
You played in this building a lot. This is 3 years in a row now with this group of players in which you've won in this building, and this is not an easy place to play.
Yeah, you can't take it for granted. I think a lot of the young guys that just get in the league that are playing with us, this is a building that's been very notorious for not allowing wins in their building. We've had the formula. I don't know what it is, but again, teamwork does it all.
You talk about teamwork. Turnovers tonight, 19 of them for them. They committed like 7 or 8 really in the early going of this ball game.
Yeah, I think we pushed them further out away from the basket, and their backdoor cuts. We had guys in help position, and we just made them more uncomfortable on defense. Excuse me, on defense. But for the most part, it was we made them uncomfortable. And offensively, we missed a lot of easy shots. But you know, we did what we wanted to do. We executed our stuff.
Finally, how is it to complete this road trip tomorrow night, and not let down in a game in which Oklahoma City is going to be sitting around for a couple days?
Yeah, I'm sure they watch the game tonight. It's a young team. The building is very energetic. They got some great talent on their bench, on their team. So we got to go out in there and, you know, pay attention to the game plan and make sure that, you know, it's the last game of the road trip, that we don't have any lows.
Right. Congrats on the win. Appreciate the time. Ray Allen, 15 points for him. Celtics now a perfect 3-0 on this road trip. More from the AT&T Center. Guys, we'll go back to you.
All right, Greg, thanks a lot. The Spurs, who are now only 2 games above 500. Kevin Garnett had a good game as well. Tommy is going to praise KG coming up. We'll also hear from the head coach, Doc Rivers, in his post-game press conference. That is straight ahead. Plus, we'll hear from Mike Gorman and Donnie Marshall as well as we continue. Celtics post-game live, presented by your New England Ford dealers from the Gates Ticket Studio in Boston. Stories.
Oh, well.
Okay, listen. Hey, Celtics right now 8-1 away from home. That's the best in the NBA. Let's hear from Doc Rivers.
For making shots, they were missing some open.
Yeah, they missed some open shots, and you know, early on we made some tough shots. I liked the first half. I thought we were attacking off the dribble, getting the ball up the floor, and scoring before they can set their defense. And I thought that was big because of the cushion that it allowed us. But you know, they're good. Obviously, they made a run on us. I thought we struggled in one stretch. Got away from running our stuff. You know, I thought we were you know, I'd lived in a little bit too much, playing too much random. But overall, I was happy with the win. It was a tough win.
You talk about creating the turnovers, a lot of them early, 19 overall.
Yeah, I thought we sagged. I mean, Parker's so difficult, and all their, and you know, Tim, and they either drive you to the paint or they post you to the paint. And you know, our thought was just, you know, trying to clog the paint, get our hands on as many balls, get more deflections, and then close out to the three-point and take them out for that shot.
Kevin had another strong game, hit some big shots.
Yeah, he's playing terrific. Even the shots he missed, you thought were going in. So just happy. I mean, he's working his butt off. He's getting healthier and healthier, and it's just going to get better.
He is still trying to develop his jumper, but it seems that when he gets it in the fourth quarter now,
yeah, you know, Murph, when he steps into a shot, he's a good shooter. When he thinks about a shot, he's not, and I don't think anyone is, for that matter. And you know, like I told you guys earlier, the point guard position, the toughest shot to make is the open one, because you're still thinking about passing. And you got to get to a point, and he will at some point. When he's open, he's going to think, I'm open, this is my shot, and I'm taking it. And I thought that shot he took down the stretch, that was in his mind. He stepped up to take that shot. There was no passing in that shot, and it was a good shot.
What did you take on Perk in the last couple minutes? It seemed like he was a force in there, but
Perk was terrific. I mean, Perk's been playing as well as anybody on our team all year. You know, guarding Tim Duncan is a major task. I mean, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And then having to deal with him and Blair, you know, Blair almost single-handedly turned this game around for them. He beat us on the post, kept balls alive. You know, their bench was huge for them tonight. You know, Bonner didn't make shots. Bonner had 5 rebounds where he deflected it and kept it alive, you know, so we did other things tonight. And going in the game, we wanted to take their energy out of the game. We didn't do that very well. I thought we allowed their second unit to give them energy.
That's one of those tough games. End of a road trip, second of a back-to-back. They've been sitting around for a few days.
They've been sitting and waiting, the young legs. You know, we're going to have to muster it up from somewhere. You know, we spent some minutes tonight, which, you know, they wasn't bad, but a couple guys played high minutes. And, yeah, well, listen, we're just going to have to get it from somewhere. They're not going to get it from me.
Is it special sweet because you get to come home to San Antonio?
It's always nice coming back. You know, yesterday I got to go out with a bunch of friends, and last night I got to eat at a home-cooked meal, which is rare on the road. So, yeah, it's really nice coming here.
Paul was no double figures second.
No, Paul, you know, I always blame, if Paul doesn't score double figures, I got to think it's my fault, always. You know, he didn't touch the ball in rhythm. He touched it sporadically. And that's what I meant by I thought we got away from our offense a lot at times, and Paul has to touch the ball. Doesn't mean he has to shoot it, but he has to touch it, because if you don't touch it for a long period of time, when it's time for you to score, you haven't touched the leather in a while, it's very difficult to score with.
All right, thanks a lot, Doc. Celtics at 15-4, tied with the Orlando Magic for the best in the Eastern Conference. 90-83 win over the San Antonio Spurs. Again, reportedly, Marco Scudero, a 2-year deal with an option with the Red Sox at the bottom of the hour at 11:30. Our guys on Sportsnet Central will have the latest information regarding that. But in San Antonio, Celtics with the win, 90-83. KG had 20 points to lead Boston.